Chapter 408, Treasure. Qiao Xian turned down the brocade box. It is just a small favor, we cannot accept such a big present. If it is okay with you, we would like to have lunch here. Startled, Auntie Hua smiled. That is totally okay, please stay for lunch. This present, just put it away, we can't accept it. Qiao Xian just could not accept such a large present just because she did a small favor for them. Seeing her resolute attitude, Auntie Hua did not insist, but exchanged names between each other so they could be served lunch soon. Qiao Xian could not give up the chance of taking a walk around and begged the maid. Auntie Hua, can we take a walk around this garden? It looks so beautiful. It might be a little rude for them to make a proposal like this just because they had done them a small favor. Slightly surprised, Auntie Hua did not expect that a properly behaved woman like Qiao Xian would propose something like this. Despite her slight displeasure, Auntie Hua nodded with a smile. Sure, just walk around as you wish, but don't go too far. Thank you. Qiao Xian smiled and thanked her. Tao Tao thought that her sister-in-law was really interested in the landscape in the garden, so she was also very glad to have a chance to take a look around this beautiful garden. The two girls walked into the garden. Qiao Xian had a predetermined goal in her mind. She simply followed the direction the space was summoning her to. Soon, they came to the deep side of the garden. Then, she was shocked. She was totally taken aback, facing the patch of woods in front of her. Tao Tao could not help but breathe. It smells so good. What are these trees? They are giving off such a nice scent. Qiao Xian, of course, there was a great smell. The forest was not large, but there was so much sandalwood, which was emitting the fragrance. The trees were very well trimmed, despite the size. Some large trees would be as old as 40 years. Qiao Xian did not recognize the trees, but she could sense that there was a smell of sandalwood. But she could also sense that the forest was filled with precious trees. That was because her space had turned desperate for them. If she was more knowledgeable, she would be even more shocked, because the trees included sandalwood, yellow rosewood, lobular Venus red sandalwood, golden phoebe, camphor tree, purple camphor tree, cold scented tree and more. The owner of the abbey apparently loved those precious woods, so they had this patch filled with trees many years ago. These were huge trees. Qiao Xian could not help but walk into the trees, when she saw a very tall, sky-piercing tree. But she could not just take them. She wanted to get a few twigs, but she failed to reach them. She needed to walk up to the tree to get them. Qiao Xian struggled for a while, but didn't ask Tao Tao to climb the tree together. It would be embarrassing if people in the abbey saw it, especially after they were received so warmly. If she did this, it would be too disrespectful and unsuitable. Qiao Xian thought and decided to ask Auntie Hua to get 2 twigs for them. Small ones would do too. As long as these twigs went into space, with the blessing of magical power, the space would be full of vitality. The small branches could take root and grow vigorously. Chapter 409, Repair. The trees from all over the country were all gathered here, which was not a very easy thing to achieve. The owner must have spent a lot of money and energy on this project. They were all precious things, and the owner might not be willing to share anything with her. But she could give it a try. Sister-in-law, look, someone is there. Tao Tao tugged at Qiao Xian's sleeves, as she pointed at a place not far away. The forest was not shadowed by any bushes or weeds, but the trees were flourishing and they were not able to see everything at one glance, unless she used her superpower. Following Tao Tao's direction, Qiao Xian looked through the trees and saw a gray-haired man sitting on a wheelchair, with his back facing her. Qiao Xian felt a bit lucky for not having climbed up the tree, otherwise she would have been seen and caused embarrassment. She did not dodge that man, and said to Tao Tao, maybe he is the owner. Let's go and speak with him. The 2 girls walked up and saw that the middle-aged man looked very skinny and sick. His cheekbones stood out and his hair had turned gray. Hello. Qiao Xian stopped the moment she started to speak. The middle-aged man's head was tilting to one side, his eyes were tightly closed and hands drooping. He had apparently passed out. 5th sister-in-law, don't be scared, Xianxia was surprised too, thinking what kind of luck she had to run into two such people. She stepped forward quickly. She reached out for the man's pulse. The middle-aged man was wearing a robe in a dark brown color with golden lines. The wheelchair was made of rosewood, which she realized only when they got closer. It could be seen that even if he was not the owner of this place, he was definitely a master with status. Xianxia could not leave the man here like this. What if he was dead? Then how should she tell others about it? She needed to check his pulse first so she could either stay here or fetch someone. Xianxia was startled again when she felt the pulse. The man seemed to have been poisoned, the muscles in his lower body were severely blocked. That was why he could not walk, and his chest and internal organs were also damaged to varying degrees. As long as he was alive, he must endure unbearable torture. Xianxia subconsciously activated her superpower. It flowed through her fingertips and poured into the middle-aged man's body. The small but endless, energetic superpower slowly opened up the territory in the man's body, washing away the blocked tendons and repairing the dilapidated damage wherever it passed by. Tao, who was standing next to her, got so nervous that she wanted to burst out in tears as she saw the fainted man and the absent-minded sister-in-law of hers. What was wrong with this man? Why was her sister-in-law not reacting? What was this terrible situation? What should they do? Old master. Yuan got so surprised when he saw two strange women standing next to his old master. He walked up and pushed the wheelchair backwards. Who are you? What are you doing here? Xianxia withdrew her move and said, Sorry, mister. We were walking around when we ran into this place, and this old master seems to have passed out, so Yuan lowered his head and found that his old master had fainted. He let out a cry of surprise, ignored Xianxia and Tao, and walked away in a hurry with the wheelchair. Chapter 4:10. For the time being, Yuan had just gone to the bathroom and something happened to the old master. His old master had to be all right. Xianxia anyway, this person did not blame them for anything, which was already a comforting thing. Xianxia and Tao were not in a mood to continue with the walk any longer. Also, Xiaoxian's purpose had already been achieved. Back to the hall, some maids laid out the table for them to have lunch. Xiaoxian asked about Auntie Hua, to which the woman maid said that Auntie Hua was in the middle of doing something so she could not be here. They were asked to eat lunch well. Xiaoxian suspected that the middle-aged man must be the owner of the abbey, and First Madam's husband. First Madam must have been taking care of her husband for a long time, so she collapsed out of tiredness. Xiaoxian could not help but feel sorry for them. Auntie Hua must be busy dealing with the old master, when she was working for the mistress. So, Xiaoxian did not ask anything more, but exchanged a few polite words, sat down and ate with Tao. She could not mention asking for the twigs. She felt a bit sorry, but since she knew where those treasures were, she would find some ways to get them. She could ask Xianxia for help, right? The young maid in the abbey did not look down at Xiaoxian and Tao just because they were plainly dressed or because they had never been here before. They were served with 6 dishes and 1 soup. The servants served them well. The reason why those servants were so well-mannered and did not judge people by their looks must be because their master and mistress had taught them so. It was a family with moralities. Xiaoxian could not help but develop a good feeling towards this family. She would not mind treating that old master if she had some opportunity in the future, in exchange for a few twigs from the precious trees. She was going to think of a good method to use the superpower without exposing her abilities or causing suspicion. After lunch, Xiaoxian and Tao waved them goodbye. They took a walk around and went back to where the wagon was stationed, then they went back to the city together. It was almost 4 in the afternoon when the 2 girls arrived at the hotel. Xiao Yunduan and Qi had not yet returned as the evening touched down. They might not be able to come back for dinner. So, Xiaoxian and Tao ate some simple dinner at the hotel rather than wait for them. Sure enough, when they returned, it was already dark outside. Xiao Yunduan had drunk some wine, and walked in with the help of Qi and Chushan. Luckily, he still had a pair of bright eyes. He was not fully drunk. No one liked to take care of drunk people. Chu Shan did not leave directly after he helped Xiao Yunduan. Instead, he left after helping Xiao Yunduan wash up. Qiao Xian thanked Chu Shan and gave him a red packet containing 1 liang, and asked Qi to walk him out. Then, she asked Qi about the gathering. Speaking of it, Xiao Xiaoqi could not help but tell Qiao Xian and Tao Tao the story vividly. It was a very bustling event. They made poetry and discussed articles. Everything looked lively. He could not understand it all, but he could still tell that there was competition in the happy place. Qiao Xian and Tao Tao showed concern about Xiao Yunduan, to which Xiao Xiaoqi said proudly, "Fifth brother is excellent." Everything spoke highly of his articles. Some people looked down at him initially, but when he made the articles, they were all convinced, especially when young Master Xia praised him as well. After that, everyone started to look at fifth brother in a different way. Chapter 411, Flashback. Tao Tao was very happy and laughed with pride. Qiao Xian felt proud on behalf of her husband too. That was what a celebrity could bring about. Her husband owed young Master Xia a huge favor. But young Master Xia never told lies. If he spoke highly of her husband, then her husband must be worth the praise. So, should she be hopeful for the autumn examination? The thought pleased Qiao Xian completely. It was the best news ever. The following day, the 4 of them ate breakfast together. The gathering continued on this day. Xiao Yunduan did not get too drunk the night before, so he was already quite sober by this time. He even inquired about Qiao Xian and Tao Tao about where they went the day before. Qiao Xian did not mention the abbey, but only told him briefly about taking a tour outside the town. Xiao Yunduan was about to say something, when Qiao Xian smiled. Just very close to town, somewhere with many people around. We didn't or will not go too far. Xiao Yunduan smiled too, and dropped his idea to nag her. Don't travel too far. After breakfast, Xiao Yunduan and Qi went out, whilst Qiao Xian and Tao Tao stayed for a bit longer at the hostel and then stepped out for shopping. There were a few sites with beautiful landscapes that were worth visiting. At the abbey, Old Master, who was in a coma, woke up finally. The Old Master had been seriously injured in an accident before. His legs were crippled, and other body functions were also damaged to some extent. Most of the time he lay down in a daze every day. Going into coma or experiencing occasional pains happened often. There were some occasions when he would feel better. Whenever he felt better and the day was nice, he would go out in the wheelchair, asking his servant to help him check the forest consisting of the precious trees that he had planted 30 years ago. When the Old Master woke up and saw his wife sitting by the bedside crying, he responded with a smile. "You are still not used to this, are you?" Madame forced a smile. "Of course not. You have to get well, don't frighten me." She was not afraid of taking care of him, nor was she worried about keeping him company in this tedious abbey. She was just scared that he would pass out and never wake up one day. The doctor said that his body was already very weak, and his viscera had been severely damaged. These years, he only relied on precious medicinal materials to continue his life. Despite that, it was still getting worse little by little. One day, it would turn so bad that his body wouldn't be able to bear it any longer. At that point, it would be the end of his life. But his wife did not dare to let him know about that. It was something that continuously pained her heart like a blade hanging over her head, which might drop any time. Especially during the past 1 year, he was getting worse and any small occasion would make her nervous. But despite the relapse that happened today, Old Master looked good and ate a lot more food during dinner and drank a more bowl of soup. Maybe I had been trapped indoors for too long, and today, I am much better and feeling more energetic. His wife felt very nervous upon hearing the words. This should not have been the last moment before death, right? She forced a smile. Good that you are getting better, good. First Madame slept in the Old Master's room that night. She barely dared to close her eyes in case something happened. Chapter 412. Curious. Luckily, Old Master woke up in time the next day, and he seemed to have turned better than the day before. The doctor came to check on the old master today and was shocked. Old master, madam, did you consult another doctor? Or did he drink any medicine or get acupuncture or anything else? Huh? What? Both old master and madam were confused. What do you mean, Dr. Tang? You are the only doctor who is taking care of his health, and he eats and takes medicine according to your instructions. No one else is involved. For real? Of course, I am not joking about this. Madam said seriously. Dr. Tang said, Madam, please, I don't mean anything like this. It is just. I found that old master has turned much better than before. Dr. Tang gave a hard pinch on old master's left calf, and said, Sorry, the old master let out a scream. It hurts. Madam stiffened, and Auntie Hua as well as everyone else all got very shocked. What are you saying, old master? Madam's voice shivered. It hurts. Dr. Tang, can't you be gentle, you? The old master finally realized what was going on. He stiffened too as he mumbled. Am I dreaming? Pinch me again, now. He lost feelings for his legs ages ago, and a pinch, or even a stab of knife would lead to no feelings at all. But Dr. Tang just pinched him and he felt the pain. He could not believe that it was real. Dr. Tang pinched him again. Ah, it hurts. Old master inhaled and said, Dr. Tang, can't you be gentle? Everyone burst into laughter. Auntie Hua smiled and said, This is great news, madam. Every servant started to pass on congratulations to the old master. First madam could not help but smile. That is a piece of great news. Dr. Tang, what on earth happened? Thank you so much for your help. Dr. Tang shook his hands. No, madam, this has nothing to do with me. If I were this capable, I would have cured the old master long ago. Not only have old master's legs gotten better, but the previously blocked tendons also show signs of unblocking. Even the wounds in his viscera also get better. This is definitely not my contribution. I am also wondering who is so capable to have done so. Dr. Tang looked very expectant. Old master and madam exchanged a look between themselves. Oh well, old master, madam, just think about it thoroughly. Did you run into anyone today? Or ate, or drank anything different? Anything? Old master and madam thought deeply. There was nothing out of the ordinary. My old master is receiving treatment in the abbey and no guests come over except for his son and daughter-in-law who visit him sometimes. Auntie Hua smiled. Yeah, it is very quiet here, and the old master is receiving treatment here because he doesn't want to be disturbed. No one was here today except Madame Qiao and her sister-in-law, who helped us to get Madame home. Dr. Tang's eyes sparkled as he said, They did not meet the old master? It was an offhand question, but Dr. Tang was very curious to know the truth. He did not want to leave out any possibility. Chapter 413, Dreaming. Auntie Hua laughed. Of course not, they didn't even meet the old master. Yuan suddenly looked up and looked at Auntie Hua. He thought for a while and said carefully, The two ladies? They did meet the old master yesterday. Yuan recounted what happened in the forest the day before. Dr. Tang added. Old master was in a coma, and no one knows what they did. Where are they right now? Can I meet them? Everyone present. They felt that Dr. Tang had turned mental. Madam smiled. Dr. Tang, that can't be possible. I don't think that is possible either, so I need to find out what is going on. Can it not be because your medicine works? Impossible. I know what medicine I have prescribed. What about doing it like this? We look for the two ladies. In the meanwhile, old master, madam, and Auntie Hua, you can start to recall what you have given or done to old master, or eaten anything special. If we find the cause, the old master's health could turn better. Everyone got very motivated. Dr. Tang, you are saying that old master is becoming better. Can you check him more carefully and see what is it that made him better? Dr. Tang laughed bitterly. If I was able to do so, I would definitely have found the cause. But I can't. Old master's health has improved, but I don't know how. I need to find the cause, Madam nodded. Okay, I got it. Dr. Tang added. If you find the cause, you have to tell me about it definitely. Of course. Dr. Tang sighed and left. Madam asked Auntie Hua to think it through carefully and asked the servants to fetch her son. Her son was very good at finding people. It turned out that her son was Xiao. Xiao was doing accounting in the study, and when he heard that his mother was looking for him, he got frightened and miscalculated things. He turned anxious suddenly, wondering if something bad had happened to his father. So, he hurried off to look for them. His mother had never urged him so quickly. He arrived at the abbey and heard what happened to his father. He became so happy. No wonder his mother was in a hurry. His mother just could not wait to tell him the good news. First, Madam narrated what Dr. Tang had told them, and said bitterly, "We are clueless about this. We are wondering what happened to your father. Can you help us find a couple of ladies?" Xiao listened to her carefully. But as the story went, he felt that something was getting really weird. Madam Qiao, Mississippi Xiao. Sister-in-laws? But weren't they? How did they end up coming to his abbey and cure his father? Also, since when did Madam Qiao know how to cure people? Xiao felt as if he were dreaming. Are you listening? First, Madam patted him as she saw her son's mind drifting away. Xiao smiled. I am. You need to find those two ladies, right? I will definitely get them here for you. Chapter 414, Invitation. He could not help but describe what Xiao Xian and Xiao Tao looked like. Auntie Hua's eyes widened. Yeah, that is it. Do you know them, third young master? First, Madam was very surprised too. Xiao smiled. If it was them who were here, then you don't have to worry. We are actually good friends. Madam Qiao's husband, Xie Jingrong, and I get along very well with each other. Madam Qiao is a very smart woman. She can do business well. Hearing that the lipsticks, which were so popular and always out of stock, originated from Madam Qiao, first Madam was taken aback. Is she really that good? What a pity that I did not meet them yesterday. Auntie Hua was very surprised, and chuckled. You can't judge people by their looks. Madam Qiao and her sister-in-law looked very ordinary, but they have such hidden abilities. Auntie Hua could not help but feel lucky that she had not looked down upon them the day before, otherwise it would have been so embarrassing. You have not seen them, and I am not sure if they are the ones whom you are looking for. I will go and meet them now. First, Madam nodded, and urged him. Go right away, don't delay it. Xiao left the abbey, went on to the wagon and told the coachman to head towards the hotel where Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were staying. I have not yet confirmed it, but I do feel that they were the saviors. Sister-in-law is a great woman, and I am good as well. What luck I have. Xiao came to the hotel, but Xiao Xian and Tao were not there. The two ladies had gone shopping. They planned to try different cuisines, so they took a slow walk around and bought some interesting things. Xiao could do nothing but wait at the hotel. It was not long after lunch that the two ladies returned. Sister-in-law, Tao. Xiao's eyes were sparkling. He was a very calm man, but this was about his father and he could not hold back the excitement. Xiao's sparkling eyes startled Xiao Xian and Tao. Young Master Yuezheng. What happened? Sister-in-law, please tell me, did you go to an outskirt abbey called Southern Garden yesterday? Xiao Xian was startled. She felt that something weird was going to occur. There was one faint idea that almost popped in her mind. Yes, we were there yesterday. How did you get to know? What a coincidence. Xiao laughed as he struck the table. That is where my parents live. You helped my mother and then my father yesterday. I don't know how to thank you. Xiao Xian, Xiao said resolutely, you cured my father, didn't you? Please, sister-in-law, help my father and we will be grateful to you for the rest of our lives. Please stop. Xiao Xian smiled helplessly. So the man we ran into yesterday was old Master Yuezheng? Actually, I am not a doctor, but I have some knowledge with massage and acupuncture. I was worried about old master yesterday, so he is better now, right? Xiao laughed bitterly. My father has been ill for many years. He was seriously injured in an accident when he was walking with a caravan. His legs became numb and his internal organs were severely damaged. All these years, he has just been dragging his body until yesterday. But you helped him and his spirit has improved a lot already. Dr. Tang diagnosed him today and found that he has become better, and his legs are also feeling some sensation. Chapter 4:15, Tryout, sister-in-law, you can definitely save my father. Please, help us. Xiao was very surprised. Did it work out well? Yes, it worked very well. Xiao nodded constantly. Please, sister-in-law, can you come with me to Southern Garden, please? Xiao fell into contemplation. Xiao coaxed her. Southern Garden is close by. I promise to drive you back to the hotel before the gate closes. Xiao would not have urged her so much if it had not been for his father's health. He seemed to be a little bit disrespectful when he was pushing her in this way. But Xiao could understand his mood. If he were to remain calm when it came to his father, then such a man would be deemed as cold-blooded. Okay, we will come with you. But I am not sure if I can be of any help. Xiao did not care, and said with a smile, of course, sister-in-law, you can check him first. We won't force you to do anything. Xiao smiled. That was true. They went to Southern Garden and met the First Madam. First Madam sized up Xiao and could not help but develop a good feeling towards this woman. She looked graceful, open and made people feel comfortable. It was you who helped us yesterday, and I should have met you personally yesterday, I am sorry. Xiao smiled. That is fine, First Madam. You are busy and you didn't have time for polite pleasantries. You treated us well though. Also, First Madam, you needed to rest well too. Thank you for your understanding. First Madam smiled briefly, and lowered her head. Her nerves remained tensed up all the time, but there was nothing she could do about it. Xiao cleared his throat and said with a smile, sister-in-law, please don't be so restrained. You can address my mother as aunt, and if you don't mind, my mother can call you niece. First Madam and Xiao laughed. She did not refuse and greeted First Madam by addressing her as aunt. First Madam asked them for their names and called them by their names. She even gave Tao and Xiao a pair of ruby-embodied golden hairpins as greeting presents. They exchanged a few words and then talked about what happened the day before. First Madam realized that Dr. Tang had guessed it right. Xiao had helped her husband. She could not help but exclaim with excitement. Xian, could you please help him again? He has been lying in bed for so many years, and I am afraid. First Madam started to sob. Xiao turned to her and consoled her. Don't be sad, Mom. He is getting better, right? His health will surely improve. He and his elder brother had never stopped hiring the best doctors around. Xiao consoled First Madam and replied soothingly. I will give it a try. Let's see if that works. First Madam was so grateful already that Xiao had decided to help them. Xiao had no idea how to do acupuncture or massage. She could not even recognize any spots. She came to help without bringing any needles along as well, claiming that they had come in a hurry. But they had needles ready at the abbey, which could be used. As she put the needles on the calf, these caused no feelings except for pain. After putting on the show for a while, Xiao said, maybe if uncle is in a coma, he would be totally relaxed, and the treatment would work better. Chapter 4:16, Superpower for Disease. First Madam and Xiao exchanged a look with each other. But there were all kinds of methods for curing diseases, and it was not a strange thing that people could receive acupuncture when in a coma. Also, it seemed that Xianxia did help him when he was in a coma the day before. Yuan had taken care of the old master for years, and he knew a little bit about medical treatment. After receiving approval from old master, first madam and young master, he gave a needle at a spot of old master's neck. Old master passed out with his eyes closed. Xianxia, that was very professional. When the man passed out, Xianxia got down to doing her bit. She asked the others to leave them alone in case she was disturbed. But they were allowed to watch how she did it. Being far away, Xianxia pretended to needle old master's wrist, but by using her figure and hand movements, she covered it up. In fact, she put 2 fingers lightly on his wrist, and calmly poured in her superpower into old master's body little by little. She commanded that the superpower should wash away old master's clogged tendons bit by bit, so that the severely injured internal organs were slowly repaired and got rejuvenated bit by bit. It required very accurate control of the flow and speed of the superpower, and old master's body was almost drained out. So, she had to take it slow, in case he could not stand the sudden instilling power. Otherwise, it would turn the good things into worse. This was the first time for Xianxia to do this to someone. She understood that it was the right thing to do, but she did not have enough time or experience to use as reference. So all she could do was to follow her own instincts little by little. It was a very high energy consuming exercise. She started to have sweat on her forehead, cheeks, and on her back. Her face started to turn increasingly pale. First Madam, Xianxia, and Tao Tao saw the changes in her. They were all so nervous. But they were very convinced by her skills by this point. Almost 1.5 hours later, Xianxia let out a sigh of relief and collapsed on a chair. The others walked up to her quickly. Fifth sister-in-law, how are you doing? Sister-in-law, are you all right? Are you okay, Xian? Auntie Hua, come quickly with the ginseng soup. Xianxia let out a breath, as the superpower went traveling through her body, and soon, she recovered. I am fine, don't worry. Really? Yeah, look at me, I look fine, right? I was just tired, but now I am okay. Seeing that Xianxia looked well again and sounded just a little tired, they all let out a sigh of relief. Sister-in-law, what about my father? They all turned to look at Xianxia in anxiety. First Madam was already holding old master's hands, checking him. He should be fine. Xianxia smiled. He is not in a very bad situation, or we can say that my method should work on him. As long as he goes through proper post-treatment therapy, he should recover to normalcy in a few months. Xianxia needed to settle this at one go because the more she did this, the higher were the chances of her secret of being exposed. Really? Is that so? The mother and son stared at her in disbelief. Auntie Hua as well as Yuan were both surprised and happy. Chapter 4:17, Secret. Xianxia smiled bashfully. It should be right, what luck? No, it is not about luck. You saved our old master and we all saw that. First Madam did not know how to express her gratitude. Xian, you are our savior. If you ever need our help, we will spare no efforts to help you. Thank you very much, Aunt. The mother and the son could not calm themselves down until a long while later. Soon, the old master woke up. He had a very strange feeling inside. His disease was gone, and he felt so relaxed and cheerful, as if he had been reborn. When First Madam and Xianxia asked how he felt and received a positive answer, they were extremely glad. First Madam took hold of Xianxia's hands, not knowing what to say. Xianxia had saved their whole family. She just could not imagine how the family would be like if her husband passed away. Xian, you should never hesitate to ask me for anything in the future. Motivated, First Madam asked earnestly. I am older than you, so, can you become my goddaughter? In this way, we can be one family. The old master also believed that it was a great idea. He smiled in agreement. Both Xianxia and Xianxia were startled. How, Mom, let's talk about this in the future. Xiao could see Xianxia's concern, which was also his worry too. LT is getting late, and she needs to head back to the hotel, otherwise Brother Xiao would be anxious not to see her there. Dad, Mom, I will accompany them back to the town now. Oh well, First Madam and her husband were both confused. Xianxia let out a sigh of relief, smiled at him and left. First Madam noticed that it was getting very late too, and she also needed Dr. Tang to check her husband, so she saw them off enthusiastically and stressed that Xiao should accompany them back to the hotel. Xianxia accepted the offer and said, Uncle, Aunt, actually, I didn't do much. I still believe that it is luck that cured Uncle. I am not a doctor, so please help me keep this skill of mine a secret, and not tell anyone else that I cured him. Xianxia was very pleased about the turn of events on this day. She had not expected that her superpower could cure diseases. Actually, it was not about curing a disease, it was about bringing things back to life and repairing the broken stuff. It was such a bizarre thing and needed to be kept a secret. In future, it would be used to save herself and family members, not to make money. Hearing that, Xiao said seriously, Dad, Mom, if this is what my sister-in-law wants, we need to respect her. First Madam and her husband were both smart people, and hearing Xian's request, they understood what she was worried about. They nodded and said, Xian, don't worry, we will arrange everything well, and not spread out even a word about it. Feeling assured, Xian waved them goodbye and left. In the wagon, Xiao released his fist and smiled at Xian with hesitation. Sister-in-law, I did not want Mom to, I got it. Xian smiled. That was what I thought as well. Really, what a wonderful coincidence. Chapter 4:18, Concern Xiao laughed. Great that you understand it. Even if my parents haven't taken you as their goddaughter, our relationship would not be affected. We are a family and you and Brother Xiao can ask us for anything in the future. Xian smiled. Sure. Xiao accompanied them to the hotel, but Xiao Yunduan and Qi had not yet returned. Xiao asked the coachman to speed up as he rushed out of the gate and headed back to Southern Garden. He was worried about his father and had decided to stay overnight at the abbey. First Madam and her husband decided to find Dr. Tang to check Old Master up after a few days since Xian did not want to reveal her identity. They needed to think about how to make up the story for his cured condition. The Old Master was well aware that he was getting better and did not need a doctor this soon. After all, Old Master's recovery was not going to remain a secret for long. The moment Xiao came, First Madam blamed him. Why did you stop me from taking Xian as my goddaughter? Xiao smiled bitterly. Mom, please, hear me out. It is not the right thing to do. Sister-in-law would not have liked it either. What? You know whose daughter is sister-in-law? Xiao explained quickly. Her father is county magistrate of the county. The county magistrate used to work in the capital and he desperately wants to go back to the capital. He is selfish and narrow-minded, not a good man. Sister-in-law is his concubine's daughter and before she got married, she had not lived a good life in that house. Xiao was curious about Xian so he had looked into her family. Hence, he had a lot to tell First Madam when it came to this point. Think about this, if Officer Qiao and Madam Qiao get to know that you have taken sister-in-law as your goddaughter, they would definitely come and ask you for favors. At that time, are you going to say yes or no to them? Also, my sister-in-law has already remembered our gratitude. There is no need to take her as the goddaughter because she is aware of our feelings. First Madam could not help but feel sorry. She sighed emotionally. That explains it. You are right about this matter. This is her worry as well. Xiao added. First Madam smiled. Then, we can drop the idea of taking her as our goddaughter. But we will always take good care of her. Officer Qiao must be stupid as to mistreat such an excellent daughter. He will regret it one day. Xiao smiled. He is not the only stupid one. Thinking of her own sister-in-law, First Madam smiled. That is true. Hearing Xian's story, the first madam felt even more sorry about Xiao. She stressed to Xiao that he should take more care of the Xiao family and treat them as part of his family. Xiao just did not know what to say. He might be the one to be taken care of by them instead. Xiao asked his father how he felt, to which he replied positively. The whole family ate dinner happily. Xiao Yunduan and Qi returned in the evening. Thankfully, they did not drink much that day. They walked in soberly. Xiao decided to tell Xiao Yunduan what they did at Southern Garden. Chapter 419, Ms.Mi Jr.'s guest Xiao asked Qi and Tao Tao to buy some snacks for the night, and then sat down next to Xiao Yunduan, tugging her clothes and telling the whole incident to Xiao Yunduan. At first, Xiao Yunduan thought that he had heard a fairy tale, but soon he understood what he had heard. Darling, so you cured the old master of the Yuezhing family? Hush. Qiao put her finger to the lips. Don't be so loud. It was just a coincidence. Very surprising actually. I only did some acupuncture and massage and shockingly, it worked. It was a total coincidence that the old master got better with my clumsy technique. Xiao Yunduan laughed. You are just so lucky. Qiao lifted her chin, raised her eyebrows and smiled. I think so too. The two of them smiled at each other. After a few moments, Xiao Yunduan said again, oh yes, don't tell others about what happened today. What if someone comes to you for medical treatment? Then you would not be able to say no that easily, right? After all, Qiao was lucky to have cured the old master, but she might not be able to cure anyone else, who might not be so easygoing like the Yuezhing family. Qiao felt her heart become warm, and she nodded. Darling, I thought about this too, and I told young Master Yuezhing about it. His family would help us keep the secret. Xiao Yunduan smiled and looked at her. That is good. You must be tired today, right? Sleep early. The gathering ends tomorrow. Andy can take you around for a tour before going home, all right? The weather had become a bit colder, but the house was as warm as spring. Under the soft light, talking about the word home made people feel warmer. Qiao suddenly felt happy physically and mentally. She looked at Xiao Yunduan with moist eyes, and her pretty face became more and more lovable under the soft light. Xiao Yunduan felt his heart throbbing, and he almost swept her into his arms. At the Yuezhing mansion. Someone from Southern Garden came to fetch Xiao, who had not returned until midnight. Ms.Mi Jr. became happy. She guessed that the old master was dying and that's why Xiao was asked to come over. That would be such great news. It was a punishment roar not to marry Nador. Ms.Mi Jr. spent a whole night thinking about this, and early next day, she asked someone to find out if Xiao had returned the night before. He did not. Ms.Mi Jr. became even more certain about her guess. She could not help but tell her husband about it. When her husband was young, he was a romantic and elegant person. He especially liked making poems with literature. Yet after so many years, he still failed to make one that could earn him a name. He gave it up later, and decided to lead a life of playing around and drinking with friends, having fun all his life. He was living a very leisurely life. He had never been interested in family business. He could not even learn a thing about it, and it made his head ache. Chapter 420, Rumor. He was very satisfied by what he had now. His two sons were doing well in business, and his youngest son was good at reading. He was very proud, even though he had no lineal son. Hence, he ignored all family affairs. He focused only on enjoyment. Ms.Mi Jr. hated him for behaving like this. She felt so annoyed after being married to him for so long. The first old master was the supporter of the family, but her husband was just trash. The first old master had a pair of excellent sons, but she had no sons at all. Hearing her words, the second old master frowned in surprise. That is not possible. He has always been like this. If something had happened, he would not have concealed it from us. Ms.Mi Jr. sneered. Why not? He can conceal it from us so they can do something bad in secret. Second Old Master. The second Old Master was always very slow in this aspect. He snapped angrily. Why do you care? Mom is still alive and they can't do anything bad in secret. Moreover, our sons are also involved in the family business, and they would keep an eye on those who try to do something bad behind our backs. What are you worried about? Losing interest in hearing Ms.Mi Jr.'s babbling, the second Old Master went out, humming happily. Ms.Mi Jr. felt annoyed and there was fury arising inside her chest. What on earth had she done to end up marrying such a trash? After some complaints, Ms.Mi Jr. thought for a while and whispered something to her trusted servant. She was not going to drop it, even though her husband did not care. Xianxia and Xianxia were her husband's sons, not hers. They might be successful in business, but none of their earnings would end up being in her hands. Hence, she had to make a plan for herself. She needed to get a share of the family business. Soon, rumor went around in the mansion that the first Old Master was doing bad at the abbey and was on his deathbed. Some even said that the third young master had been asked to go to Southern Garden, and he looked so worried when he went out. He spent a whole night there. Soon, Madame Yuezheng knew about it. She called her eldest granddaughter-in-law and Ms.Mi Jr. and asked about it. What happened to the eldest son? Do you know anything about the matter? Ms. Jean turned to Ms.Mi Jr. She was already aware of what to do with the second aunt-in-law, having been in a fight with her for years. She was going to let her second aunt-in-law answer Madame's question. Ms.Mi Jr. said, I am not sure, but someone from Southern Garden came to fetch Qiao who hurried away. He did not come home the night before, so we have no idea what is going on at Southern Garden. Qiao left in such a hurry. He should have told us what happened, otherwise you will be worried, right, madam? Madame Yuezheng frowned and snorted, looking annoyed. Ms. Jean smiled. Madam, maybe he did not tell you about it because he did not want you to get worried. But I am sure that he won't conceal anything from you deliberately if something really bad is happening. I will get my people to look around at Southern Garden. Those servants indulge in too much gossip. He was at Southern Garden, and did not return overnight. What does that mean? Chapter 421, Investigation. Isn't it normal that he stays overnight at Southern Garden with the first Old Master and the first Madam? Who spread the rumor? I will definitely find out who released the rumor. How dare those servants gossip about what happened to their masters? They have startled you, madam. Having heard what Ms. Jean said, Madame Yuezheng nodded. That is true, you need to find out who started the rumor and gossiped about the master. And that person was even jinxing her son. Even though she preferred Ms.Mi Jr. over her eldest son's wife, it was still her son they were gossiping about. She still did not want to hear anything bad about him. Find the culprit and punish that person seriously. Beat that servant and sell him or her out. We must not keep someone horrible like this at home. You are right, Madame Yuezheng. I will bear your instructions in mind. Ms.Mi Jr. clenched her teeth and cursed Ms. Jean inwardly. Since Madame Yuezheng approved of the investigation, she had no way to counter Madame Yuezheng, who might get annoyed hearing any contradictory words. But she still wanted to add fuel to the fire. But after all, Qiao was still too impolite not to have informed us about this. Otherwise there would not have been any problem like this. Ms. Jean smiled. Second aunt-in-law, I don't agree with you. Third brother goes to Southern Garden so many times in a month. Must he tell his servants every time he goes there? He is the master, and servants are those who work for him. They are not in a position to gossip and guess about their master's life. There is nothing more we can do about it now. Let's wait until news from Southern Garden arrives. Madame Yuezheng, don't worry. I will arrange the investigation right away. What do you think? Niam Yuzneng 100 Kia at TNE 2 or TNM. Stop TNE argument. Sort out TNE matter first. You can go now. Madame Yuezheng was very satisfied with Ms. Jean, who always knew what she should do when faced with an emergency. Ms. Jean accepted the order and retired. Ms. Jean did not care if Ms.Mi Jr. was going to instigate Madame Yuezheng to do something else. Ms.Mi Jr. was in control of her own words, and that was beyond her reach. She only needed to focus on what she was entrusted to do. She had to find out the source of gossip. Her second aunt-in-law went way over the top this time. She started to create rumors about her father-in-law. She was going to counter her, else she would not have any idea how to explain that to her mother-in-law and husband. One night passed at Southern Garden. Xiao and his mother, including Auntie Hua and Yuan, were all very nervous, fearing that old master would return to where he had been before. But the old master turned out to be very lively when he woke up, saying that the night before was the best and most steady night he had experienced during the past few years, and that he felt nothing strange about himself. He even had some sensation on his legs, and he could feel Yuan's massage. If all went well, he might even be able to take a walk with people's help after a few days, and maybe after some more time of therapy, he woed recover totally. Xiao and his mother were reassured and cheered happily. You have to thank Xian. First Madam smiled. Xiao, find a good present for her. I have something for her too. Oh yes, what about inviting young Master Xiao and Xian and the family over for food? We have to treat them properly. Xiao nodded with a smile. What about tomorrow noon? Today is the last day of the gathering. They were talking about therapy and invitation, when Ms. Jean's devoted maid arrived there. Chapter 422, Elder Sister-in-Law. The maid narrated all that Ms. Jean told her to, and First Madam's face sank slowly. How dare she spread rumors like this? Does she really think that there is nothing I can do about her? She, in First Madam's mouth, was Ms.Mi Jr. The more she thought about this, the more angry First Madam became. Is Ms.Mi Jr. crazy? I don't interfere with what is happening at the mansion, so she thinks that she can do whatever she wants. Good, I will talk to her about this soon. Someone must have spread the rumor about the old master, and that's why the servants dared to gossip about their masters. First Madam could figure out the culprit instantly. Xiao was disgusted too. But he stopped First Madam. Don't get angry, just ignore her. Dad is getting better now. Let's see how annoyed she becomes when she realizes what actually happened here. Anyways, I am going home now. First Madam breathed in forcefully and nodded. Don't tell anyone about your father's recovery, except for your elder sister-in-law. And tell her to stay tight-lipped as well. Okay, Mom. He was going to make it public when his father recovered completely. And his father was definitely going home for the new year. Xiao returned to the mansion and went to Madame Yuezheng directly. Madame Yuezheng asked him about the situation. Xiao was surprised. Dad is still under treatment, and he is fine. Who spread such a rumor? Mom urged me to go there because she said that Dad was missing me. So I hurried over and spent the night there. Who is so bold as to spread rumors about their masters? Grandma, you have to defend my father. Dr. Tang says that he is getting better these days, and if he hears such rumors, he might be really depressed. Hearing that her son was not getting worse, Madame Yuezheng let out a sigh of relief. Then she became furious. True. Find out who is behind this. Don't worry, your elder sister-in-law is already at it. Xiao nodded and said, I will go and visit my elder sister-in-law and tell her about this, so she can be assured too. Madame Yuezheng nodded. Okay, do that. Xiao told Ms. Jean about how his father was recovering and would most likely come to the mansion for the new year. He told her to stay quiet about the matter. Overjoyed, Ms. Jean pressed down her excitement and asked a few more questions out of concern. Xiao told her everything. Ms. Jean smiled. Thank God for helping us, this is great news. Ting and her mother were annoying and kept causing her trouble. Even though her mother-in-law left some helpers for her, Ms. Jean was still very tired. After all, Ms.Mi Jr. was 1 generation older than her, and Ting was her sister-in-law, so she could not do much to counter them. She was burdened by some family affairs whilst dealing with those annoying mother and daughter. At the same time, she had to take care of her 2 sons. She wished so much that her in-laws could return to the mansion as soon as possible. She could only be truly relaxed when her mother-in-law was home. Every time she went back to her mother's home, her sisters and friends all felt so jealous of her for not having a pressing mother-in-law. But she could not explain how miserable that feeling was. Xianxia said. Parents should be home soon, so elder sister-in-law, just spare no efforts to carry out your investigation. Ms.Mi's eyes sparkled. Really? Of course. Okay, I got it. Ms.Mi suddenly felt motivated. She looked lethal and inspired, ready to get on with the investigation. She was definitely going to reveal Ms.Mi Jr. this time. Xiao Yinduan and Xianxia could not turn down Xiao's invitation for lunch. Chapter 423, Visit to the Southern Garden. To be honest, Xianxia did not want to turn the invite down. After all, he had been thinking about the precious trees. The next morning, Xianxia, Xiao Yinduan, Tao, and Xiaoqi headed to Southern Garden with Xiao for a visit. First Madam, who was immensely grateful to Xianxia, felt even closer to her after knowing about her story. Old Master had recovered quite quickly, basically improving every day. This was actually not surprising. Xiaoxian's superpower represented vitality. She had used her superpower to completely restore his body. All that was left was to recuperate and replenish qi and blood. As long as he ate well and rested well, and did some exercise, every day would bring new surprises. The old master was very particular with food, which was beneficial for replenishing the body, so he recovered even faster. Therefore, the old master received Xiaoxian and the family as well. He looked lively and happy. He did not seem to be tired at all. Xiao Yinduan was very well-mannered and talked about various interesting topics, making the old master feel very happy. He felt that his son was good at making friends. Xiaoxian asked for a visit in the garden last time, but this time, First Madam volunteered to show Xiaoxian and Tao around. There were countless flowers and trees in the garden. Although the old master did not have the opportunity to appreciate them often, First Madam still ordered people to take care of each flower and tree carefully, so that her husband would be able to appreciate the scenery in the garden whenever he wanted to and never feel sad. It was a time when chrysanthemums were blooming. First Madam took the 2 ladies in the garden for chrysanthemum viewing. First Madam had a wide knowledge about it, so she presented the categories to Xiaoxian and Tao, who were pleasantly surprised. Xiaoxian had seen many kinds of chrysanthemums, but many had disappeared in the later generations, which were now lively here in the garden. Tao was shocked too, and said, "We have so many wild chrysanthemums in the mountains and by the riverside. I thought that I had seen all kinds of them. But there are so many different kinds of them here. So beautiful and big, I like them all." That made First Madam and Auntie Hua laugh. First Madam said instantly, "If you like them, I will get Xiao to deliver some to you. Is there anything else you want? Just tell me and I will give them to you, these are not expensive for us." Tao was so surprised, and her eyes were sparkling. Instead, she turned to Xiaoxian. This was a chance delivered to their doorstep. Xiaoxian was just wondering how to lead them to the topic, when they mentioned the matter themselves. Xiaoxian smiled. "Thank you for the offer, Aunt. We are building a new house, and we will plant some in our garden." First Madam smiled. "Okay, Auntie Hua, do bear this in mind, in addition to chrysanthemums, get some good mountain peonies, Chinese peonies, French hydrangea, laurel, and magnolias later as well. Anything else you want?" Auntie Hua smiled. "Okay, Madam." Xiaoxian smiled. "Oh yes, Aunt, I find that you have some fragrant rosewood and red sandalwoods in the garden. Can I have some of those interesting plants too?" Both First Madam and Auntie Hua were startled. Chapter 424, Prediction. Xiaoxian smiled. "Small tree buds are fine, or even some twigs are all right." First Madam smiled. Xian, you do have good judgment. You like nothing except these expensive ones. Auntie Hua laughed. Very true. First Madam said, your uncle has been interested in those trees for a long time. He has bred many of these just to make wonderful furniture. He was worried that they would not be enough, so 30 years ago, he planted many tree buds in the southern garden, as well as in other gardens of ours. Some of the tree buds grew up, some failed to live, but those in southern garden grew best. I will fetch some suitable ones from the other 2 abbeys, and give them to you. Or I can just get Qiao to buy some back. Twigs are useless, not that I am too stingy to share some with you. First Madam would not turn down what Xiao Xian asked for, though what she had asked for seemed quite unexpected. Her husband loved those things, and would not be stingy as to not share any with Xiao Xian. He could just buy some more buds and breed some more. Xiao Xian simply could not wait toward the tree buds, but smiled. Aunt, you don't have to make such a fuss. I am very good at planting trees and flowers. You can just give the twigs, I can definitely breed them well. Tree buds are not needed. First Madam. Although Xiao Xian tried to conceal her anxiety, First Madam still sensed how anxious she was about it. All right then, she could get her some twigs. Anyways, she was going to get the tree buds as well, so Xiao could deliver those to her place later. First Madam did not believe that twigs were useful. But she pretended that she believed her. Okay, that sounds good. Auntie Hua, just get some twigs and tie them up for her. Okay, First Madam. Thank you, Aunt. No worries. First Madam smiled. Oh, what kind of twigs do you want? Tell Auntie Hua about it. Xiao Xian thought for a while and smiled. They don't have to be too big or long, also, no withered twigs. She made a gesture. This size will do. Auntie Hua nodded. I have remembered it all. The turn of events pleased Xiao Xian a great deal. Done. She had a feeling that after this, the space would definitely give her a lot of surprise. After walking for a while, First Madam took them back to the house for tea, snacks, and a casual conversation. At lunch, Yuezheng Xiao stayed with Xiao Yunduan and Qi whilst the First Madam was accompanying Qiao Xian and Tao Tao. First Madam had made a lot of efforts for this lunch. She transferred the chef from the mansion and started to make preparations the night before. The dishes were made with a lot of effort, and they were, of course, exquisite and delicious. Almost every noble family had their private dishes and special pastries. So did the Yuezheng family. The Yuezheng family's famous dishes were clear soup cubulos and abalone knuckles. The clear soup was extracted from chicken, duck, elbow, scallops, ham, and the soup was clear as water. The cubulos was smooth and soft but did not break when eaten. The freshness in the mouth was just indescribably wonderful. The abalone knuckles were flavored with a special broth, and the sauce was thick and bright, as oil and fat were removed, so the whole dish was soft and delicious. Chapter 425. Lucky these 2 dishes could not be eaten anywhere outside their family. First Madam introduced the specialties to the 2 ladies, and Xiao Xian and Tao Tao, after eating such delicious food, praised the dishes generously. It was always nice to see that the guests liked what the host had prepared for them, especially for First Madam, who had been taking care of her husband all this time and never got a chance to relax. She had not treated people over a meal in a long time. That was also the first banquet she arranged for people, which was significant for her too. Seeing that Xiao Xian and the family loved what she had arranged, she felt really happy. Xian, you are not in a hurry to go home, right? What about staying at Southern Garden for a few days? The chef is very good at making food, you can eat many delicious dishes here. But Xiao Xian could not stay overnight. She smiled. I should not turn down your invitation, but we have been away from home for too many days, and it is time for us to go back. We are building a new house and we can't be outside for too long. Also, Uncle is still recovering, and needs to be taken care of. We can't keep you busy at the moment. We will come to visit you on our next trip. First Madam smiled. It is a deal then. You definitely have to come to visit me often. When spring comes, just remember to come and see the flowers. There are many beautiful sights in the province which I have not visited for many years. We can go there together next time. Xianxia felt warm inside her heart, so she nodded and said, "Okay, I will definitely be here." The old master still needed to rest, so after lunch, Xianxia and Xianxia, as well as their family, left. First, Madame told Xianxia numerous times that he should treat them well and should give them the wagon to go home. Xianxia nodded in agreement. The following day, Jingrong treated them to a meal. At the banquet, he was surprised to hear about the old master's recovery and congratulated Xianxia sincerely. Later, Xianxia went shopping with Qiao, Qi, and Tao Tao for a day and bought some stuff. They decided to go home the next day. Xianxia had 2 wagons prepared for them, one for them to ride, and the other for the products and presents which the Yuezheng family gave to them. These included the twigs and some small tree buds which they had found. Xianxia said that when the new house was built and the spring came, he was going to visit them and bring the plants to them personally. He also said that the brocade boxes were presents given by his mother to Qiao. It was still Chu Shan who drove them home. They set about before dawn, so when they arrived at the county, it was still quite early. Qiao and Xianxia booked 2 rooms at the hotel, telling Chu Shan to stay there for one night as well. There was no good place for him to stay at their current home. They had just booked the hotel and were about to get onto the wagon, and they heard a sound of, "Hey," behind their backs. Startled, Qiao knew that it was Qiao Ko who was there. She and Xianxia exchanged a look. They waved and blinked at Chu Shan and the coachman in the wagon, thinking that they were lucky that they had not yet gotten into the wagon. Good. If Qiao Ko and Xiao Wei saw them going into the wagon, they would have had difficulty in explaining what was going on. Qiao turned around and saw Qiao Ko lifting the drapery, smiling at her and Xianxia. Next to her was Xiao Wei. Chapter 426, Slap on Face. Xiao held in her anger and walked up to Xianxia. "What a coincidence, sisters." Qiao Ko sneered. "What are you doing here?" Xianxia smiled. "I am going to college and my wife is keeping me company." Qiao Wei snorted. "Minghua College does not follow rules now. Anyone and everyone is allowed to go inside?" Xiao said, "I will be waiting for my husband outside." Qiao Ko chuckled. "It seems that you and cultivated talent Xiao are getting on well with each other. When you were about to get married a while ago, you cried loudly, begging not to get married. But it seems that you were pretending, right? Good that my mother knows to whom you should marry. Look at how well you are living now." Having heard what Qiao Ko said, Xiao Wei and the maids around them laughed. Qiao got so angry that she wanted to hit this person. This bitch was so annoying. How could she say such words in front of Xianxia? Xianxia moved his feet and guarded Xiao behind his back, glancing at Qiao Ko plainly. "I admire second miss, and she is a kind-hearted woman. She has adjusted well to the marriage and we are living a good life now." Qiao had not expected that he would say so. Feeling sweetness inside her heart, she looked up at him and could not help but blush. She felt a bit embarrassed when hearing such passionate words in front of others. She should hear them in private. Qiao Ko got stuck with words and could not help but feel jealous. What did Xianxia mean? So he knew that Xiao disliked him earlier, but he still kept flattering her, so she was finally moved by his actions? What kind of woman was Xiao, that she was so cherished by someone? She deserved to shed tears and get disdained by everyone around her. Qiao Ko sneered. "Stop being so full of yourself. Do you admire Xiao or are you trying to suck up to my father? Everyone knows the truth." Xianxia was silent. He wanted to suck up to county magistrate. He had never been to the Qiao family's home except for the 2 times when he had to. Moreover, he had what was he sucking up to him for? But he did not need to defend himself because everyone including Xiao Wei understood clearly that Xiao Ko was just being stupid. That made Xiao Ko feel slapped on the face. She glared at Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian said calmly, "It is getting late, what are you still doing here? If you want, we can find a place and sit down, and can have a good chat with each other." Xiao Wei sneered. "No need." Then she told the coachman to drive on and left. They were on the street, and she did not want to have any conflicts with Xiao Xian here. It was never a good idea to start a fight on the street. The more she thought about this, the more angry Xiao Ko became. She could not help but complain. Sister, second sister, and that cultivated talent are so annoying. They look harmless, but they are actually full of terrible tricks. Cultivated talent Xiao is just a cultivated talent at the moment, but he dares to treat us in this way. What if he becomes a recommended man? What more would he do to us? Well, I don't think that he can become a recommended man, but maybe he will try other ways. I wish that he was not a cultivated talent at all. How could such a poor cultivated talent behave like this? He did not deserve to even speak with her. Qiao Wei's eyes sparkled. She snorted and said nothing. But she could not help but think about what Xiao Ko said. Chapter 427, Back Home. That was true. Cultivated talent Xiao had never sucked up to their parents and even treated Xiao Xian so well. He should not be a cultivated talent. He should just be Xiao Xian's page boy. Back at home, she sent Xiao Ko away and went to her mother, telling her what happened. Madame Qiao did not care much and said disdainfully, "Sil girl, he is not sucking up to your father because he knows what he is capable of. He knows that even if he tries to suck up to your father will never want to speak with him. You think it is easy to make it to a recommended man? Those knowledgeable people need years to make it to that level. Xiao Yinduan just won't be able to do so. Also, didn't he say that he won't attempt it next year? Just stop thinking about this." Qiao Wei still felt a bit annoyed. "But you never know if he will change his mind. I think that we should remove his title as the cultivated talent too. In that case, he would not be able to do anything at all." Xiao Ko felt annoyed, and Xiao Wei was annoyed too. She didn't expect that Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian would not bend down in front of them. "No, that won't work." Madame Qiao looked serious. "Cultivated talent Xiao is your father's son-in-law after all, and if his title is removed, your father will be humiliated. He definitely won't make it to the recommended man, so why bother to make a fuss? You will regret it deeply if your father gets angry." Qiao Wei was startled and hesitated. Her mother was right, the cultivated talent show was too poor to become a recommended man. Also, it was not very easy to remove his title as the cultivated talent either. What if she caused trouble and her father lost face? She would suffer deeply, and that would only mean a favor done to Qiao Ko and concubine Du. As she thought about this, she remembered that it was Qiao Ko who instigated her to do so, and Xiao Wei became even more annoyed. She was not someone who tolerated her anger. So she told Madame Qiao about everything. Angry, Madame Qiao shouted. "What a bitch! How dare they try to use us? Wei, be careful not to be used by that bitch." Madame Qiao felt so angry that she snapped at concubine Du and Xiao Ko when they greeted her the next day. Concubine Du was ordered to stand still for 1 day and her legs were shivering by the end of it. Xiao Ko was too scared to argue or protest. When Xiao Ko and Xiao Wei's wagon went far, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan climbed onto the wagon. Xiao Xian felt quite anxious. Although she knew that Xiao Yunduan was not a superficial person, she was still quite worried that he would be affected by what her sister said. She wanted to ask him and give some explanation, but with Qi and Tao Tao around, she could not find a way to start the conversation. She was feeling quite heavy in her mind. Suddenly, she felt a touch of warmth on her wrist. Xiao Xian looked up and saw Xiao Yunduan's eyes on her. Xiao Yunduan pinched her wrist and released it, talking in a soft voice. "Let's go home." Startled, Xianxia no longer felt anxious. She smiled and nodded with her eyes sparkling. Okay. When he said, "Let's go home," they were heading towards their home, so he was still treating her as his family, and it meant that no one would be able to separate them. Xiao Yunduan smiled back at her, and both of them felt relieved in their hearts. Back at home, the sun was setting in the west. The whole family was happy to see them back and helped to carry the gifts into the house, chatting happily. Chapter 428. Stupid cousins Chu Shan and the coachman left from there when it was getting late. Qiao Xian put most of the stuff back into the room, and shared some with Miss Fong and Ms. Su. She asked Qi and Tao Tao to carry the tree buds into the garden. She was going to deal with them tomorrow. Then, she shared the snacks with the entire family. First, Madame had given them 2 boxes of pastries, which were made by their special chef at the mansion. They were sweet and crispy and everyone loved how they tasted. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian felt assured hearing that everything was going well at home. When they talked about how bustling the province was, Miss Fong could not help but look forward to visiting there, let alone Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni. They had never thought about this earlier, but things were different now. Xiao Xian smiled. When it becomes warm next year, we will all go there for a trip, okay? That sounds great. I want to go too. Xiao Sanlang and his wife were the most motivated when hearing the proposal. Ms. Fong looked at the couple, hesitating. But can we all really go there? Xiao Xian smiled. Yeah, Mom, we can rent a wagon and we'll arrive within 1 day. Our whole family will go together. Anyways, we have enough money with us. We don't have to be worried about anything. Ms. Fong laughed. Okay. We will all go there. Okay. The whole family laughed and talked, when suddenly Xiao Lulang rushed in. 5th cousin. Everyone was startled. Ms. Fong frowned and asked Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni to go make dinner. Xiao Yunduan was confused. What is it? Xiao Lulang looked so angry when he said, "Why didn't you tell me about going to Brother Yu's home for a visit?" Xiao Lulang had been suffering terribly ever since he got to know about it. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He just could not help but imagine how Xiao Yunduan stood out among all those excellent people, and he was so annoyed by this imaginary picture. He was counting the days for Xiao Yunduan to return, and the longer he waited, the angrier he felt. Hearing that Xiao Yunduan was back, he could not wait even for a single moment to come over and accuse him. 5th cousin, your behavior is way over the top. Brother Yu and I are good friends too. So, how could you leave me behind? You are just jealous of me speaking vividly with him and fear that he will like me better than you. Qiao Xian, she could not help but look at Xiao Yunduan with sympathy. She and her husband were indeed a perfect match. She had annoying sisters and her husband had stupid cousins. Xiao Yunduan looked at Xiao Lulang coldly. Are you mental? You should go and find your own friends. Yuezheng was not a very common surname, and Xiao Lulang ignored the Zheng part of the surname when talking about it. This stupid cousin of his did not even know what his friend was called and he still insisted that they were friends. Xiao Lulang's eyes were widened. How can you say that? Eldest uncle, stop it. Xiao Yunduan's eyes sank slowly. Xiao Lulang, there is no use calling me my father. He can't make Brother Yu turn into your friend either. I suggest you study more and read more rather than befriend people. My friends are unrelated to you, and I don't care about your friends either. Chapter 429. Pretending people. Xiao Lulang said, "You must have messed around later, I." Extremely annoyed, Xiao Yunduan replied without hesitation. If you had not sucked up to him, how would Brother Yu know who you are? You said that you had a nice chat with him, but what did you speak with him about anyway? Why didn't he send you any invitation? Qiao Xian chuckled and smiled. Darling, maybe you are wrong. Maybe you have hidden the invitation which was meant for your cousin? Xiao Lulang followed up. Yeah. Xiao Yunduan. Xianxia added again with a smile. That is called, you can never wake up those who pretend to be asleep. For example, it is daytime, but that person would always say that it is night because he has his eyes closed. It is dark, because it is night as per him. Xiao Yunduan almost burst into laughter, despite the anger he held in his mind. Xiao Lulang. What are you talking about? This is what I mean. Qiao Xian said coldly, my husband has already put it forward clearly that he and you are not on the same level, so stop messing around with his friends. Hearing her blunt words annoyed Xiao Lulang even more. Eldest uncle felt that Qiao Xian was not being nice. He immediately said, Ms. Qiao, watch your words. Ignoring him, Qiao Xian continued. You are well aware whether or not you had a nice chat with my husband's friends, right? Actually, even if you had a good conversation with them, so what? Xiao Lulang was stuck in words. True, so what? He was very confused. What was he thinking about anyway? Xiao Yunduan asked him coldly. Is there anything else? Just leave if you have nothing else to say. Xiao Lulang stomped his feet, snorted, and left. Eldest uncle felt so sad. Yunduan, you are studying together, and you should stay close to each other. How can you? Elder uncle was very confused why Xiao Yunduan called young Master Yuezheng as young Master Yu instead when he was talking with Xiao Lulang, but he did not think that was important. He said, you can go out together and take care of each other. Dad, you are wrong. Xiao Yunduan replied straightforwardly. He is selfish and overly confident. I don't get on well with him. So please, stop trying to get us together in the future. I don't want to get involved with him in any way. Let me tell you the truth, no teacher in the college has ever said that he is intelligent or good with studies. He is just lying to you all. He is very bad at homework as well. He has been punished many times for not being able to recite any articles. Dad, why do you think such a person would help me when I need it? Eldest uncle was shocked. Is that true? I did not say anything in the past because I didn't want to cause trouble. But I am not lying to you. You can ask around it, you don't demean me. Eldest uncle felt bitterness arising inside his heart. Then why don't you give him some tips? Miss Fong became displeased. Just look at how he behaves with us. You think Yanduan's words can get through to him? Xiao Yunduan said as well, you can instruct and guide him if you want it, Dad. Eldest uncle sighed and felt grievous. But if what you say is true, but... Chapter 430, Jealousy Ms. Fong sneered and was eager to watch a good show. She said to herself, just speak with him and see if he wants to listen to you. Xiao Lulang still believed firmly that Yuezheng Xiao and Xie Jingrong had treated him as a friend and that Xiao Yunduan must have stopped him from joining them for the visit. But he did not know how to counter him, and he had no place to vent his anger. The next day, eldest uncle could not stand it any more. But when he tried to guide him to the right path, Xiao Lulang snapped at him and complained about Xiao Yunduan, saying that eldest uncle should discipline Xiao Yunduan so he would not dare to treat him like this in the future. The eldest uncle finally got the chance to tell him what he had been prepared to tell him after a long while. The moment Xiao Lulang heard him, he interrogated eldest uncle about where he heard such a rumor. He shouted and asked who was trying to humiliate him. It must be Xiao Yunduan who said that, right? He is lying, he is just jealous of me. Xiao Lulang kept accusing Xiao Yunduan aggressively, but he did not dare to confront Xiao Yunduan about it. In the end, he ignored eldest uncle and left from there angrily. Eldest uncle was confused. He did not think that his son would lie to him, but his nephew was also a literati who did not seem to be lying either. After breakfast, Qiao Xian sorted out the presents and gave a portion to each member of the family. Qiao Xian finally unpacked the gifts which the first madam gave her. She had been prepared that the first madam must have given her many expensive presents, but what she saw was far more than she had anticipated. Just the whole set of 40 pieces of gold head and face jewelry inlaid with gold and jade were already dazzling her eyes. The hairpins, the crown, the earrings. Everything was exquisite in workmanship and beautifully made. Xianxia could not wear them outside right now, but each piece was so beautiful to look at. It made her feel happy. First Madam apparently knew that this was for her to appreciate and collect, so she gave her 20 more pieces of jewelry which were well made and proper to be worn in daily life, beautiful but not too outstanding. Apart from jewelry, she had received some exquisite garments, fragrance, cubulos, donkey hide gelatin and some other jadeware as well as some porcelain for flowers. First Madam did not really take her as goddaughter for real, yet she seemed to treat her like one. Xianxia felt very moved. She had saved the old master's life for sure, but First Madam also treated her with full sincerity. After she put the precious things away, Xianxia went to the garden to plant trees. She needed to put her plan into practice quickly, and asked Qi and Tao for help. She planted those buds in a corner of the garden, but did not work on the twigs. She dug a hole and had it half covered with the soil, and waited for the right plants for transplantation. Transplantation did not actually work, but she needed an excuse to put these things into her space, so she did the whole charade. When the trees were planted, they checked the mushrooms inside the shed. Snow fungus were all out and the fruits were growing, but they were not ripe enough to be picked yet. The mushrooms and wooden ears could be harvested though. Let's just pick the mushrooms, wooden ears and snow fungus for sun drying today. Qi and Tao nodded in agreement. Chapter 431, Updated Space. I will fetch the basket and the bucket, and also get the elder sister-in-law and third sister-in-law. With that, Qi dashed off. Soon Ms.Mi and Xianxia came over with baskets and buckets in their hands. Xianxia smiled. I just told my elder sister-in-law the day before that we should be ready to harvest mushrooms and wooden ears. Now that you are home, we can pick them. Ms.Mi pursed her lips. You remember things related to food the most. Everyone burst into laughter. Xianxia smiled. Fresh mushrooms and wooden ears are very tasty, but we have no meat at home, or we can make ground meat with mushrooms, and that would be fresh and delicious. We will make a portion next time we buy meat. I will make some desserts for you with snow fungus, dates and lotus seeds. They were all very excited when it came to food. They were fast in their actions and soon collected all the mushrooms, wooden ears and snow fungus in their buckets and baskets. Xianxia weighed them and believed that there were 15 kilograms of snow fungus. Approximately 500 grams of dried snow fungus could be produced from 3 to 5 to 4 kilograms of snow fungus. Then, with this harvest, they would get around 2.5 xofit. She had looked around in the market in the province. 500 grams of excellent snow fungus could be sold at 50 liang, and even ordinary ones could be sold at 20 to 30 liang. Snow fungus produced by her were large, with appropriate thickness, and pure in color without any flaws. As long as there was nothing wrong during the sun-drying process, they could be sold at the highest price. Hence, this small basket of snow fungus was worth more than 200 liang. Xianxia asked Tao and Ms.Mi to carry the harvested fruits back into the house, whilst she remained there. They thought that she was just checking the mushroom shed, so they left accordingly. Xianxia shut the gate, let out a sigh of relief and could not wait to rush towards the buds. She put the 20 twigs of trees into the space. No one would notice the strangeness happening in the garden since no one was around. When someone walked in and saw them missing, she could just say that the twigs had all gone rotten. What a perfect lie. When the 20 twigs went into space, they were deeply rooted directly. Xianxia could even feel them starting to grow the roots right after they got grounded in the soil. The magical energy inside the space grew vividly and made a huge stir. Motivated, Xianxia sensed instantly that her superpower had improved as well. She could even sense the moisture in the air and make an even longer day of weather forecast. The house which had been covered with mist was now getting very clear. But, it was not enough. Xianxia pulled bud after bud and put 5 of them into space. Instantly, the magic became even stronger. She could not help but walk into the room. This time, she was not stopped. The room was right in front of her, empty. The wall opposite the gate was a storage shelf with layers. There was something in there that looked very much like an ATM at a bank. She walked forward and put her hands upon the misty screen, and soon, she was greeted with a lot of information. It told her what she should do with that ATM. Xianxia smiled brightly. This device was not only going to help her distinguish every plant in her space, but was also going to offer all kinds of answers related to plants. Chapter 432. Trash space into treasure. As her superpower grew stronger, she would get richer and get more answers from this machine. For example, if she got some precious and good things but had no idea what they were, she could come to the machine and try to figure out the significance of it through the machine and find the answer. For another example, if she wanted to know how to process some kind of tea leaves, she could turn to the machine and get the instructions here. When it was upgraded to another degree, she would have no problem improving the current technological problems, rakes, or the farming tools. The grids and boxes leaning against the wall were all for storage. She could put everything that was not alive inside. Each grid had a volume of 100 cubic meters, which would be enough for her for however long it was. They could be categorized neatly, very handy. Not all the grids were activated, but the very bottom row was already enough for her. That pleased Xianxia a great deal. The trash space had already been updated to turn into a place of treasure. She just could not help but give it a try, so she picked 2 leaves of golden sprout, put them on the screen of the machine and read inside her heart. Soon, there appeared a line that displayed the name, features, and fragrance along with the processing methods for the golden sprout clearly. What was more magical was that due to the special connection between her conscience and the things in the space, she only read it once and remembered it all. That was wonderful. As long as the processor was skilled and good at processing the tea leaves, it would not matter if he did not know how to process golden sprouts and lavender. She had not done it before, but she had a lot of knowledge with her. After this, Qiao put some leaves of fruit trees and gastrodia so as to find out some instructions about them. For example, how should gastrodia be planted and taken care of, and how it should be used, what could lemons be used for, and how to make the best plum wine and dried fruits, etc. She was having great fun with it. She did not leave the place until a long while later. Back to where she lived, Qiao put her money, land contracts as well as the excellent garments and jewelries along with the extracted oil from flowers into the space. She finally felt much more assured. In this way, she would never worry about thieves. This place was completely safe. How wonderful. Xiao was very surprised to see that she was walking proudly and cheerfully. He couldn't help asking her, "Mind sharing the good news with me?" Qiao looked delighted, but she could not reveal too much, so she smiled brightly hearing her husband's question. "I am just very happy. Look at my mushrooms, they are so well harvested, and our new house is almost done, everything is great." Xiao nodded and laughed. "Yeah, everything is great, we should be happy." "Yeah." They smiled at each other. The following day, Qiao and Xiao went to the Jianghu village again. Chapter 433. All well-doing Zhu and his wife, as well as Madame Zhou, land officer, and his wife were all helping them out, so everything went well there. Ding Zhu and Ms. Zhou were down-to-earth people, and the land officer and his wife might try and do some tricks on them. But Madame Zhou was smart, and she was older than everyone else. So, if she said something as an elderly woman and was reasonable enough, no one would dare counter her. The land officer and his wife were both people who understood what was best for them. They were not able to trick the couple and simply decided to work hard and devotedly instead. Therefore, everything went on smoothly. When Xiao and Xiao went over, it would take 3 more days before the land was settled. Xiao expressed his gratitude and appreciation towards the land officer with a smile. "You are very reliable. We will probably need you to hire some more people to help us with the tea tree planting, also for weeding, trimming, picking, and so on." The land officer's eyes sparkled, and he said with a smile, Okay, young Master Xiao. Don't worry, as long as you entrust us to do the work, we will definitely make sure all is done well, and you will be satisfied. The land officer could not help but feel relieved that he did not cause any unpleasantness in this task, otherwise the long-term work would not be entrusted to them again. Due to this assignment, almost every household had managed to earn some money. They were able to afford a few new clothes, blankets, snacks, and some other things, which were very beneficial for them. Xiao Yunduan nodded at him with a smile. The land officer was definitely going to tell the Zhang village about this. In order to have a long collaboration, they knew clearly what they should do. After the land officer left, Xiao Yunduan, Qiao Xian spoke with Ding Erzhu and Ms. Zhou about building a new house. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan already had the plan ready. They were going to build 2 yards and 2 wing yards. The smaller wing yard was for storage of farming tools and food. The bigger wing yard was to be used as the processing workshop and storing tea leaves. The creeping figs could be processed here, so the house needed to be built well. Qiao Xian even decided that when the house was constructed, they would buy 2 guarding dogs for Ding Erzhu to keep for patrolling and safeguarding the area. Moreover, the front yard could be spared for Ding Erzhu's family to live in. Outside the yard, she wanted to make a vegetable garden where a patch of fruit trees would be built, as well as a 2-mu pool for fish, lotus roots, and water chestnut. They could even raise some ducks and geese. Some chicken as well. They would even come over to enjoy a few leisurely days. When the house was finished, the craftsmen could come and start the construction here. They were definitely going to finish the construction before the new year. Ding Erzhu and his family did not need to worry about the hut that would leak wind. At that time, Madame Zhou could help to take care of the grandchildren and keep an eye on the workers. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian believed that it was a good plan. Madame Zhou was smart and capable. She could watch the workers for them whilst teaching Ms. Zhou how to deal with the situation, so Ms. Zhou could learn these skills for future tasks. Chapter 434, Result of Investigation. On the way home, Qiao Xian smiled at Xiao Yunduan. When Aunt Yuezheng heard about our business at the Zhang village, she said that we ought to buy some servants simply because we are going to have much to deal with and we need to cultivate people for the future. Xiao Yunduan nodded. Yeah, we should do so. Qiao Xian frowned. But that is not very easy to do. It is never easy to find people who are reliable. Let's take it slow. Xiao Yunduan smiled. We can visit the province in spring and check it out. We can hire some reliable employees to sign a contract for 10 to 15 years. In this way, we will have some people working for us in the long term. Qiao Xian's eyes sparkled. Yeah, true. As long as we are able to afford the laborers, we can always get good ones. She thought for a while and smiled. We can even ask Aunt Yuezheng to help us as the middle person. With her around, I am sure we can hire better ones. Xiao Yunduan nodded and smiled. Yeah, there are a few tenants who seem nice. If they want, we can hire them and sign a contract with them for 10 years or more. Qiao Xian felt assured when this issue was solved. Otherwise, she was really wondering what she should do in the long term. They needed to hire the local villagers, otherwise there would be conflicts. But if they all hired people from the Zhang village, there would be the possibility that they ganged up together to create trouble. If something happened, they could handle that, but the trouble was after all trouble, and it should be avoided in all probability. So, they needed to work it out in a good way. If they bought the employees, they could just work together with the tenants who were not from the Zhang village. Then, they could select some good ones from the Zhang village, so that they could maintain a balance for future development. At the Yuezheng family in the province, Ms.Mi Jr. was used to reading people's thoughts. She believed that the first section of the family would never cause any trouble because they always wanted to keep old master steady. She was already used to that. Therefore, she was bold enough to spread the rumor through her maid. In her opinion, there was no point in fearing that the first section of the family would get to know about her deeds. It was always going to be forgiven anyway, wasn't it? It was the first section of the family who wanted to stay away from trouble. Therefore, when Ms. Jean spoke of the investigation and got support from Madame Yuezheng, Ms.Mi Jr. did not really care. She felt that Madame Yuezheng was just saying that casually, and Ms. Jean was not as strong as she looked. She would not dare to cause any trouble. She would not want the first section of the family to be disturbed. Honestly, she herself was the senior person at the mansion, and it was not so easy to pick on her. Since Ms.Mi Jr. did not care, Ms. Jean had no trouble finding the clues leading to Auntie Xiao, who was working for Ms.Mi Jr. Ms. Jean ordered Xiao and some other older maids who were close to Ms.Mi Jr. to be taken to Madame Yuezheng's yard, where she told Madame Yuezheng the truth. Madame Yuezheng was dumbfounded as well. Chapter 435, Settlement. Madame Yuezheng just wanted to find the servants who spread the rumor, but she had not expected that Ms. Jean caught Ms.Mi Jr.'s closest maid. What surprised her was Ms. Jean's purpose. Was she trying to break up with the second section of the family? Ms. Jean snapped angrily. I don't think the second aunt knows about this. These servants spread rumors about the master and try to turn them against each other all the time. Madame Yuezheng, we must not keep any of these people. Madame Yuezheng's face sank and she nodded sternly. You are right, they should not be kept. Speak with your second aunt, and get rid of them. Yes, Madame Yuezheng. Ms. Jean answered and ordered those servants to be taken to Ms.Mi Jr. Hearing that the servants were taken away by Ms. Jean, Ms.Mi Jr. got furious and also surprised. She rushed to Madame Yuezheng's yard, and on the way there, she ran into Ms. Jean. How dare you, Ms. Jean? Ms.Mi Jr. glared at Ms. Jean, looking rather furious. She was slapping right on her face. Everyone knew that Ms. Jean had caught her maids, and if she did not try to protect them, she would become the laughing stock of the family. She was already very humiliated when her niece found out the truth. Here you are, second aunt. Madame Yuezheng asked me to bring those people to you and discuss with you about how to deal with them. Ms. Jean smiled and narrated the whole process. Her words were quite clear. Firstly, she caught these people based on evidence, and Ms.Mi Jr. could see the evidence if she wanted to. Secondly, she had already told Madame Yuezheng about this, and the old lady had ordered a serious punishment. Ms.Mi Jr.'s face turned green as she glared at Ms. Jean. With a sneering voice, she said, Good, niece, you are good at catching people who are working for me. Why not speak with me first? Do you not intend to respect me as your second aunt? You are not a good wife. Don't be mad, second aunt. I was on my way to tell you about this. Ms. Jean smiled. I was just too angry about the fact that this bitchy maid works for you. How dare she spread rumors behind your back? She must be trying to turn us against each other, so that we are not able to get on well with each other. I am just worried that she will make up stories in front of you. What if you believe her again, and the relationship between us is ruined? That is why I caught her first, in case something terrible happens. I am not disrespecting you, second aunt, please, open your eyes and see. You, second aunt, this bitch is so cruel that she cursed her master and spread rumors. Due to this, the whole mansion is in a mess. She can't be kept, or things would get worse at home. That is what Madame Yuezheng said too. What do you think, second aunt? Ms.Mi Jr. got so annoyed that she could not utter any words to counter that. Xianxia was surprised and scared, but she struggled and looked up at Ms.Mi Jr., begging her to save her. She had obeyed her mistress' words and conducted all of these actions. Her mistress had to save her. Seeing their reactions, Ms. Jean smiled. Xianxia, are you trying to imply that you need to speak with your mistress? Take out the cloth from her mouth. Hold on, save your breath. Chapter 436, New House Ms.Mi Jr.'s vein on forehead popped, as she said coldly, this bitch must have spread rumors for sure. Feed her a dose of the mute drug and beat her, then sell her out. Then she glanced at Ms. Jean, sneering meaningfully. You are excellent, niece. You can deal with this matter properly. But you must take care of yourself in the future because there will be a lot for you to care about. Don't be too busy. Ms.Mi sorted inwardly. She was threatening her, right? All right then, she was ready for anything. 2 months, just 2 months, and then all bitterness would come to an end. Her in-laws would return to the mansion and she was going to see what else she could do. Thanks for your reminder, second aunt, I definitely will. Ms.Mi Jr. sneered and left in fury. Ms.Mi did not soften her heart. She gathered all the servants of the mansion and punished Qiao and the servants in front of everyone. Qiao was the main culprit, so she was hit 30 times and directly sent to the abbey. At the abbey, she was going to be fed with mute drugs, and when her wounds were cured, she would be sold out of the province. The others were hit 20 times and got sent to the abbey to do labor work, whilst some honest and down-to-earth ones would be picked to replace them at the mansion. The whole mansion got really shocked when they saw how first young madam suddenly turned so lethal. They were all frightened, especially those who had been used to doing small tricks. Their hearts were throbbing nervously. Hearing the news, Ms.Mi Jr. got so annoyed that she smashed some teacups and decided to take revenge on Ms.Mi. But she had no idea that soon, Old Master and First Madam would return to the mansion, and by that time, she would have no position at the mansion at all. At Xiaoding village, the first section of the family's new house was soon finished. Many villagers came to watch the new house and pass on the congratulations. The whole family was very happy and they had prepared some snacks for the visitors. The yard is so huge. Oh, there are small yards and gardens in the main yard. Look at the bricks on the floor, so magnificent. They are rich and willing to spend the money, so everything looks great. Yeah. I wish we could have such a huge house as well. This joke made people laugh and someone mocked back. Maybe in your next the villagers took a tour around the house and felt both emotional and jealous. They all clearly understood one thing. No matter whether they felt jealous or other things, the first section of the family had gone one step higher this time. They felt envious, but they thought about befriending the first section of the family, so that one day, they might be able to get some benefit from the first section of the family, just like Xiao Dali and his family. Therefore, no matter what they were thinking, they could not help but utter some flattering words. Even when it came to fifth Grandma Ding, who felt extremely nervous inside her heart, did not say anything to offend the people around. Chapter 437. Too late. The second and third section of the family came to look at the new house too. The 2 extra rooms built at the second section of the family were already finished, but compared to this new house of the first section of the family, the 2 rooms were just nothing. That made second uncle and Ms.Mi feel jealous and gloomy. Widow's son was among the crowd, watching the show too. With every step that she took, she felt her heart dripping water. She felt so regretful. If she had known that Xiao Yunduan would achieve this much and the first section of the family would get rid of the second and third section of the family, she would have surely hooked up her daughter with Xiao Yunduan. If that had happened, she would have been a part of this new house too. She was the mother-in-law and she would have been able to move in. But now it was too late. It didn't look like she would be able to find someone better to marry her daughter to. Widow's son felt so annoyed. When she saw Ms.Mi, who seemed to feel even worse, she decided to make some noise with her again. Ms.Mi sneered, as she heard what she was told. The first section of the family were all horrible people. After the new house was built, the following step was decoration. The decorating materials were all environmentally friendly, so the quality was guaranteed. They were prepared when the new house was being built. Soon, the windows, doors and furniture were all moved in at this moment. Xiao did not spare any money in making the window with transparent glaze, which was definitely better than the paper window. It looked beautiful and bright, and everyone spoke highly of it except for eldest uncle. As for the furniture, Xiao wasn't that particular. The tables, chairs, stools, and shelves in the living room were all made of high-quality fur. The wardrobes and couches in the room were made of high-quality fur or camphor. It was covered with tung oil all over, bright and clean, and the texture was excellent. People in the village needed everything to be practical. She could afford mahogany, ebony furniture, but that was not suitable. 5 days passed, and the whole house was done decorating. The 6th day was an auspicious day to move in, and the whole family shifted in happily. Miss Fong and eldest uncle were located in the front room, and the 4 yards belonged to Xiao Yunduan's 4 brothers. There was a 2-store wing house at the southeast side, and Tao Tao moved into this place since she did not want to live in the front yard. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan got the best and broadest yard. Xiao Yunduan needed to study, so the best yard was for him to live in, and Xiao Xian came from a special family, which made it totally reasonable that she picked it. No one countered the choice. Instead, they were so grateful to move into such a wonderful house, which was all thanks to Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian liked her yard very much. The room was really broad, and there was 1 inner room and 2 wing rooms. She could do all kinds of experiments she wanted and did not have to hide from anyone. The patio in the yard was quite large. She had asked people to build 2 flower beds, and was going to plant some flowers and trees in spring, plant 2 magnolias and a pomegranate in the corner, and also plant some roses, rhododendrons and other low flowers and plants in the small backyard. The original spring was well protected and remodeled during the construction of the house. After the remodeling, there were still places for drinking water in the backyard. The backyard was twice as big as the previous ones, so they simply built a square pond with a height of half a person and about 5 square meters with black bricks near a courtyard wall to raise some fish. Chapter 438, New Wuxia wooden board covered half of it, while displaying the other half. The fish was kept inside, and could be scooped out for cooking whenever they wanted. There was an exit below the sink for changing water. The wide ground in the backyard of the patio was full of flat green bricks that were spliced seamlessly. It was very convenient to dry the recovered rice, harvested taro, corn, and beans for later use. A shed had been built for the chicken coop, and the duck coop on the other side of the backyard. Further back, there was a 1-person-high wall, as well as a spacious cowshed. Miss Fong had decided to raise a cow and a donkey. She also had another cart built, so that Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian could travel into the town comfortably without having to worry. The first section of the family's life was getting better and better. Miss Fong and Ms. Su were taking a walk around, looking really happy. When flowers and trees grew in spring, they could open some areas to grow vegetables, and the yard would flourish even more. Miss Su was roaming in her new, broad room, touching the glazed window and the furniture, looking at the bricks on the ground, smiling constantly. Now, her daughter and son had separate rooms too, and her room with her husband was enormous, with all kinds of furniture and a large space. That made her feel so happy. More importantly, they did not spend any personal money to do any of this. All the things inside the room were bought from the shared savings, which made her feel really glad as well. Eldest uncle was glad too. But he found it to be incredible. You sold the plants and gained this much? Are the plants so valuable these days? He did not spend any money nor was in charge of handling the money, but he could tell that the glass on the windows was quite expensive. Miss Fong did not want to discuss this topic with him. The house was built and he had moved in, what else could he say? Ms. Qiao offered some help. She said that the house should be well built so we could live a more comfortable life. Look at what we have got. Eldest uncle sighed and had nothing to say. His brothers were angry about the whole episode, and they did not even greet him. He knew what they were thinking. True, building a house was too much of a waste, and if they could save some money, he could have offered some help to his brothers too. But they did not do so. That was why his brothers were so displeased inside the heart. But Miss Qiao offered the same reason, after which he would have nothing to say. Miss Qiao did not stop repeating her words. No nephew's wife supported the uncle's family. Hat would turn us into a laughing stock. They were all glad on the moving day. Qiao Xian prepared some food. Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni went into the town and bought some meat and tofu home. Qiao Xian picked some nice-looking mushrooms, chopped some meat, added some scallions and seasonings and made a dish of mushrooms with meat. Miss Su ground some rice and made a dish called ribs with rice flour. Braised pork belly, stewed pork belly with soybeans, peanuts, and lotus seeds, stir-fried pork liver with green onions, and sauerkraut and miscellaneous fish pot were cooked as well. Finally, sugar-coated yams, scallions, tofu and garlic vegetables were all put on the spacious and clean dining room, giving out a wonderful fragrance. Due to the move into the new house, Xianxia had prepared a jar of wine as well. It was a happy day for everyone. Chapter 439, The Qiao Family Translator. Henyu translations. On the day when the first section of the family moved in, the second and the third section of the family came over to check out the new place. The more they looked at it, the more sour they became. So, they decided not to look at it anymore. They should at least treat them to some food when they move into a new house. They were waiting for the first section of the family to pass on the invitation, and despite the anger, they still wanted to eat the free food. However, the first section of the family never sent out any invitation, which made them really furious. What are they being so arrogant about? They do not want to accept us as family anymore, right? All right then, we don't care. They should never ask us for help ever again. Unlike the second and third section of the family, those from the first section of the family were all sleeping well in their new house. Everything was spacious and wide in the new house. Moreover, Xiao Yunduan and Xianxia could even have their separate rooms. However, they seemed to have forgotten about this. They were still sharing the same room. Xianxia was rolling on the bed happily, feeling glad inside her heart. This was the countryside life she had been looking forward to enjoying. There was no shortage of food, clothing, and housing. There were flower fields and gardens. The fruit trees produced endless fruits. The vegetable fields had the freshest vegetables. There were chickens, ducks, and geese in the backyard, and as much fresh fish and shrimp as she wanted. There were all kinds of mushrooms, bamboo shoots, wild vegetables, wild fruits, and other things in the mountains, which could be harvested throughout the year. They were also able to make enough money for life easily. She could go out when she wanted to, or stay at home if she wanted to. On rainy days, the whole family could gather together to make dumplings, glutinous rice balls, steam rice cakes, and various other snacks. It was all so wonderful. However, she needed to remove the danger of the Qiao family so that this wonderful life could last. Xianxia needed to become stronger. The following morning, Ms.Mi asked eldest uncle to inform his brothers and the families to come over and eat dinner at the new house. Ms.Mi never skipped on what she needed to do. Eldest uncle headed off immediately. He had wanted to ask his brothers' families to eat the day before, but Ms.Mi said that the house was too messy to receive any guests, and that they should do it the next day. Eldest uncle believed that too, so he gave up on the idea. But that was not the point. The whole family wanted to have a good first day. Why would they need the second and third section of the family to cause them trouble? They wanted to spend a happy day alone. As to why Ms.Mi asked eldest uncle to inform his brothers' families, it was not because she was afraid of the gossip. It was reasonable that they did not hold the banquet on the previous day. But if they did not invite them all together, that would look intentional. Xianxia did not cook dinner. It was Ms. Su and young Xiaoni who cooked, since she already did a lot of cooking the day before. They prepared 1 chicken, 1 duck, and they fetched some carrots, vegetables and leeks, as well as some yams, mushrooms, wooden ears which would lead up to 2 full tables. They would have more people into the family in the future, so they had 1 large dining room built in the house. The place could hold 4 tables, or even 6. Chapter 440, More sour. The dining room was connected to the main room at one end, protruding towards the patio, and it was perpendicular to the main room at right angles. It was rectangular, with one side facing the kitchen and was separated by a door. On the wall opposite the door was a set of cupboards and a row of chests of drawers almost as tall as a person. In addition, there were 6 windows in the middle of the 2 opposite walls, which were inlaid with light-colored glass. During the day, the sun shone in from the windows, which was very bright. The food was put on the table, and Ms. Fong smiled and greeted everyone from the second and third section of the family. After the first section of the family finished cleaning things up, the other two sections of the family visited the place for the first time. Seeing that the house was neat and tidy everywhere, the brand new furniture was made of good wood, and beautifully made, they had already turned sour inside and out. They felt even more jealous when they saw the dining room. Ms. Zhang could not help but snort. "Eldest auntie, you keep saying that your windows are made of glaze, which is not cheap at all. You are saying this because you are afraid of loaning us money, right?" The eyes of the two sections of the family sparkled. They all nodded vigorously. Ms. Fong smiled and said calmly, "Right." Ms. Zhang. Ms.Mi could not help but shout. "Eldest sister-in-law, you are not treating us as your family. What can I do? I am already very scared. You have borrowed a lot of money from us, but you have not returned any. I have been fooled many times, and I need to learn something from the past lessons, right?" Third uncle coughed. "But we are running short of money. If we have some, we will definitely return it to you." Ms. Fong responded. "Sure, I believe you, but you must be running out of money even in a dozen years too, right? It seems that I am not looking forward to receiving any money from you anytime soon. Also, I like to spend money in the way I want to. What can you say about it, anyway?" Qiao chuckled. "Mom, you are right. You can even throw some coins in the water and that would have nothing to do with any of us." Ms. Fong laughed. "That is true." The others felt so annoyed. Ms. Zhang glared at Xiao, looking furious. She was a nobly born lady with a lot of dowry, wasn't she? But she was so damned rude. Young Xiaoni looked at them, licked her lips and smiled at Ms. Fong. "Mom, the dishes would turn cold if we don't hurry. I am starving a little." Young Xiaoni was very confident about her cooking skills, thinking that her cooking skills were good. More importantly, the ingredients were good. The freshly cooked chicken, the ducks, which were put inside the pot for frying and boiling. She had already been drooling with the fragrance. Eldest uncle asked the second uncle and everyone else to gather around the table. "Come and sit, let's eat together." Everyone sat down. They were very displeased, but there was nothing they could say or do apart from feeling wronged. The two tables were divided between men and women, and the women's side was not very friendly. Ms.Mi and the others did not want to talk, so they just buried their heads in eating. They tried to comment in the middle. "The chicken is too thin, there are too few eggs," but Ms. Fong and her daughters-in-law ignored it all. At the men's table, second uncle and third uncle talked more. They kept saying how the family should be united and the first section of the family should help others. They even mentioned their deceased parents, crying sourly. "Eldest brother, you are living a life that we are all jealous of. If our parents could live to the present day, they would be so glad to enjoy such life with us. We are so useless, but eldest brother, you are really capable." Chapter 441, Xiao Yunduan's distress. Eldest uncle felt really uncomfortable upon hearing that. He comforted the second and third section of the family. "The children are all grown up and everything is going to be well. If you need any help, just tell me." Second uncle and third uncle felt even worse. "What was the point of telling you? Could you force Ms. Qiao to offer her money? You were just saying good words." Xiao Sanlang, and she did not care what they were talking about. They kept eating food with their heads buried. Xiao Erlang did the same, which made the two uncles annoyed again. The dishes were almost gone while they were talking. Xiao Yunduan chuckled inwardly. This was the best and easiest way to deal with them. After dinner, second uncle and the others left directly. What was the point of staying here? Everything made them feel so annoyed. After a couple of days, it was time for Xiao Yunduan to go back to college. Unexpectedly, he ran into Zhao Guanghua again in college. "Brother Yunduan." Zhao Guanghua sounded as if they were close. He approached him, and patted him on the shoulders in a pretentiously passionate way. Xiao Yunduan dodged his hand, took a few steps backwards, and said kindly, "Young Master Zhao, what is the matter? Zhao Guanghua was not a cultivated talent, so he should not be here to discuss the articles. He had not been here before either. Xiao Yunduan was a little confused. Especially when this man treated him so kindly all of a sudden. Xiao Yunduan did not think that Zhao Guanghua had the intention of befriending him. Brother Yunduan. Zhao Guanghua smiled. We are all good friends, Brother Yunduan. You don't need to be estranged from me. Xiao Yunduan smiled and replied politely. Sorry, I have got some work to do. Farewell. Hey, Zhao Guanghua stopped Xiao Yunduan and said with a smile, we can chat next time, but Dean Meng wants you in his study, so please, Brother Yunduan, don't keep him waiting for too long. Xiao Yunduan blinked and nodded. Okay, thanks for the message. Don't mention it. Xiao Yunduan went away from Zhao Guanghua. However, 1 hour later, when Xiao Yunduan and several cultivated talents were discussing with Mr. Wu, who was holding the gathering, 3 students rushed in from the college and said that Xiao Yunduan sneaked into Dean Meng's study. He broke his favorite orchid and left from there. They kept saying that he was not respectful towards the teacher and should not be in the college or attend any examination. They even tried to force him to get punished at Dean Meng's place. Everyone was very surprised. Xiao Yunduan sneered and sorted the timeline in his head, including the time when he walked into the college and with whom, and what time Zhao Guanghua spoke with him and who could be the witnesses. Later, he said goodbye to Zhao Guanghua and came to this place with some people. He mentioned this in front of everyone and even pointed out that he had been in the room all this while, and since no one left the place during this time, it meant that everyone in the room could be his witness. So, when did he have the time to visit Dean Meng's study? Dean Meng's study was located in a different direction from here. Although no one understood what was going on, what Xiao Yunduan said was right. They all nodded in agreement. Some students who were in a good relationship with him started defending him. The ones who had come to make the report panicked. They were dumbfounded. That was not how the plan was supposed to go. Chapter 442, A Strike Back. Didn't Xiao Yunduan go to Dean Meng's study at all? But, didn't he mention that Zhao Guanghua told him to? Well, even if he mentioned that, Zhao Guanghua would have denied the accusation. Xiao Yunduan had no proof that Zhao Guanghua did pass on the message. If that happened, then he would drag down some innocent classmate. But he did not mention Zhao Guanghua, because Zhao Guanghua would not step out and admit that himself. Seeing their faces change, Xiao Yunduan smiled and said gently, you must have been mistaken, right? Don't worry, it's fine, we have talked through the misunderstanding. The 3 of them did not dare to say anything more, but nodded with a smile and hurried away. Xiao Yunduan narrowed his eyes. He and Zhao Guanghua were not good friends. He would not be so stupid as to follow his order. He instantly got 3 classmates to keep him company after he separated from Zhao Guanghua, creating a solid alibi. He had no idea what Zhao Guanghua was up to, but he did not think that it was anything good. Zhao Guanghua tried to set him up, by pushing him into a position where he had no others to help him. But if he was accompanied by witnesses, he would not lose his credibility. Dean Meng got extremely angry. Soon, Xiao Yunduan and the 3 students were taken to Dean Meng. Xiao Yunduan had nothing to do with this matter, and he was just misjudged, but he knew clearly that Dean Meng was not an open-minded person, and would always try to drag someone down. Interrogated by Dean Meng, the 3 students could not hold it anymore. They felt so embarrassed. They were from ordinary families, and one of them was suffering from poverty, so none of them dared to point out that Zhao Guanghua was the main culprit. As a result, they had to admit that it was them who did the whole thing. But they argued as well. Xiao Yunduan is always very arrogant. He bullies us and we hate how he puts on airs. That is why we tried to teach him a lesson. Dean, we are sorry, but Xiao Yunduan is not totally innocent. True. But for his arrogance, we would not have done a thing like this. Dean Meng glanced at Xiao Yunduan coldly. Xiao Yunduan, who intended to say something, decided to stay silent instead. Apparently, Dean Meng bought the ridiculous excuses, or at least half of it. In that case, Xiao Yunduan did not need to give any explanation. It would not work anyways. Xiao Yunduan, what do you want to say? Dean, this is totally ridiculous. We have never hung out together and the relationships are at peace. What do they mean by humiliating and bullying? Please, I request you to clear my name which has been wrongly dragged into this. Dean Meng sneered. How dare you push your conflicts onto me? I don't care about this, just leave. The three students got so startled that they kept begging for forgiveness. Xiao Yunduan was shocked. But he said nothing. Dean Meng was very determined. He said coldly with sleeves flung aside, just get out now, one more word, and I will get someone to drive you out directly, then you will be humiliated. The three students got so startled as if they were chicken with hands over their necks, that they had no sound to utter. Xiao Yunduan bowed and said, thanks for your tutoring, Dean, I am leaving now. He quit the room first. Chapter 443, Elder Miss Qiao's words. The three of them exchanged a look and left as well. Xiao Yunduan felt very peaceful. He did not feel like coming to this place either. He had been to 2 provinces twice and learned a lot from there. So he could just digest what he had obtained in his head. He did not have to be here. He walked out of the college and saw the wagon parked not far away. It was Zhao Guanghua who had just lifted the drapery and smiled at him. Xiao Yunduan turned around and walked towards him. I don't understand why you want to set me up. Zhao Guanghua sneered and said indifferently, I don't like you, so I did it. It happened, right? You are out of college, no? Good. Ha ha ha. Xiao Yunduan left without a word. Zhao Guanghua threw a disdainful look at his retreating figure, put down the drapery and ordered the coachman to go home. Zhao Guanghua did not like Xiao Yunduan. But Xiao Yunduan was Xiao Lulang's cousin and Xiao Lulang kept flattering him, yet Xiao Yunduan did not do so, which made Zhao Guanghua feel annoyed. He would not have done anything under normal circumstances, but Elder Miss Qiao told his sister Zhao Ming about how to drive Xiao Yunduan out of Minghua College. That made Zhao Guanghua feel motivated. He was quite willing to work for Elder Miss Qiao. He was expecting to gain some benefits from Elder Miss Qiao and her father for his family. What if Elder Miss Qiao felt moved and decided to marry him? That would make everything so good. That was why he decided to make this incident happen. Zhao Guanghua did not order anyone to pass on the message to Qiao Wei at the mansion. Instead, he was going to tell Elder Miss Qiao the detailed story over dinner at restaurant Yanha when his sister went to visit Qiao Wei. If they could talk over food a few times, their relationship would definitely become better. Qiao Wei decided to do so because after speaking with her mother the other day about ripping Xiao Yunduan of his title as cultivated talent, she realized that it was not so easy. She did not think that Xiao Yunduan would become a recommended man either, so she dropped the idea. But she still felt really annoyed. Hence, she came up with the idea about driving Xiao Yunduan away from the college. She did not think that a poor cultivated talent like Xiao Yunduan had any talent, so if he was driven out of the college, he would get distressed and would not be able to move on. It would effectively cut away his means to take the examination. She could not do it herself. But she had heard Zhao Ming mentioning about her brother who was also at Minghua College, so she went to Zhao Ming and asked her to get her brother to do the task. Hearing the result, Qiao Wei felt very satisfied. She even gave a box of cosmetics to Zhao Ming. She could tell that Zhao Guanghua was trying to suck up to her, but she did not care about the flattery. She was used to enjoying his attention all the time. Her fiancé was from a duke family in the capital, and Zhao Guanghua was just a son of some rural businessman. How dare he dream about marrying her? Back at home, Xiao Yunduan did not show any difference in his demeanor. But Xiao Xian sensed something. She asked him in private. Did anything unpleasant happen at the college? You don't seem to be in a good mood today. Chapter 444, Possibility. Xiao Yunduan laughed. You sensed it? Xian was startled, asking directly. For real? What happened? Xiao Yunduan, who had not wanted to say it in the first place, did not conceal the incident and revealed the whole truth. In the end, he said, it is not a big deal anyway. Xian got so annoyed. Is it the young master Zhao who visited cousin the other day? He is so horrible. Good that you did not get tricked, otherwise it would be very difficult to get your name cleared. It was an imperfect plan, but it worked out well in the end. If Xiao Yunduan had visited Dean Meng's study and Zhao Guanghua denied that he passed on the message, then Xiao Yunduan would have had no excuse to defend himself. Zhao Guanghua was wealthy and gentle, and the college would have definitely taken his words into account. Even if this was put into the governmental office, her father would not have defended Xiao Yunduan because he would have thought that this was too humiliating for him. Worse, he would even accuse him of the wrongdoings. Xiao Yunduan smiled. This man is not a moral person, and I have never hung out with him, so I would never have believed him, especially since he suddenly tried to get close to me. Xian smiled. Other people might have ignored this point because no one would expect that he would dare to plot the dean. But you are so smart. Haha. Honestly, Dean Meng is not a nice person either. You were misjudged, and he even ordered punishment for you. Xiao Yunduan said, it doesn't matter. I don't need to go to college any longer. My studies would not be affected. But I just can't tolerate this injustice. Suddenly, Xian thought and said, you don't think that Zhao Guanghua bought out Dean Meng as well, do you? Moreover, Zhao Guanghua would not be affected even if you are not at the college, right? Why did he suddenly do this? For your cousin's sake. Your cousin isn't that powerful in his eyes, right? Xian had never met Zhao Guanghua before, but she had met Zhao Ming before. People like them would not treat Xiao Lulang as a true friend, nor do anything for him. The more she thought about this matter, the more confused she became. Xiao Yunduan had some speculations. He had never been enemies with anyone, and the only people who held a big grudge against him were the Qiao family. They ran into Qiao Ko and Qiao Wei the other day, and he met with such an incident now. How could he not think that there wasn't any connection between the two? He did not want to tell Xian about this in case she felt guilty. It was not necessary to mention this guest to her. Fearing that Xian may think about this aspect, Xiao Yunduan interrupted her contemplation gently. No one knows what someone is thinking about. It is not strange that people do something stupid at any time. I can still study for the imperial examination at home, which is better for me too. Xian nodded. If she continued to talk about this, she might make him feel even worse, so she stopped discussing it and tried to encourage Xiao Yunduan so that he could feel better. Xiao Yunduan let out a sigh of relief seeing that she did not mention this topic anymore. It was getting very cold outside, and the wild chestnuts and persimmons in the mountains should be ripe. That made Xian feel highly motivated. It was a fine day when everyone went into the mountains to seek the wild chestnuts. Xian soon found a large patch of wild chestnuts on a flat hill. Since there were few people in the deep mountains, many chestnuts that fell on the ground had not been picked. There were some chestnuts with shells, rolling in the fallen leaves and grass, like little hedgehogs. Chapter 445, Abundance. Xian and others used wooden sticks to push away the fallen leaves and weeds, and picked up the shiny black and purple chestnuts, placing them into the basket. Those chestnuts that were still wrapped in thorn bags were broken open with stones, and the chestnuts inside were taken out. There was a big patch here, and many of them had fallen. They only needed to pick up the ones on the ground. There were also many trees, and the branches were covered with dark green and light green thorns. They simply needed to climb up the tree and shake the branches, and the fruits would fall down. There could be no one standing under the tree, or they would get bumps all over the head, which might cause some hurt. Yang Xiaoni and Xiao Sanlang were foodies. They kept crushing the shells, picking the fruits and stuffing them into their mouths. The black and purple hard shell of the fresh chestnuts was peeled off, and then the inner layer of skin that was close to the nuts was taken off as well. When the light yellow chestnuts were eaten into the mouth, the juice was rich. It was crunchy and sweet, and the more they chewed, the more delicious it felt. They did not move an inch ever since they found this place. In the end, they harvested a lot of things. They had 4 packages which weighed nearly as much as 100 kilograms. Each of them carried some home smoothly. There are many trees, and we can come again in a week or so. We must take all of them home. There are so many of them. Yes, we can come again next time. They wondered what they could do with the chestnuts. Of course there were many delicious things which could be made. Xianxia counted them one by one with a smile on her fingers. Needless to say, fresh chestnuts, stir-fried vegetables, stews, boiled or steamed are delicious. There are also fried chestnuts with sugar, which are very appealing. After they are dried, they have another taste which is equally good. Other dishes like stewed chicken with chestnuts, roasted pork ribs with chestnuts, stewed lamb with chestnuts, braised pork with chestnuts, can also be made. We can also cook porridge, make dumplings for the Dragon Boat Festival, and grind chestnuts into powder, make chestnut cakes and chestnut buns. Anyways, chestnuts are a good thing. Everyone looked forward to all of these. We can try every one of them, I feel like eating all of them. Me too. 5th sister-in-law, tell us what to do, we can work hard so you won't be tired. True. Qiao smiled. Sure, we can fry fresh chestnuts with yams, steam them or something. We can start with that for tonight. Everyone smiled and nodded. Xianxia said regretfully, but it is getting late, and we won't possibly run into some wild animals to fry with the chestnuts. Qiao smiled. Don't need to be anxious. We can dry chestnuts for an even better taste, and we can cook such dishes in the future. Back at home, they poured chestnuts into the basket, which was kept in the vacant room for sun drying. It was very broad and clean in the yard, very handy for sun drying. They picked some chestnuts, boiled them briefly, peeled off the shells, and the aroma of chestnuts wafted into everyone's nostrils. They took a bite of the flour and glutinous, which was delicate and sweet. Everyone liked it very much. Miss Fong peeled the chestnuts for her grandchildren. She smiled brightly. You are so lucky to have found so many things which no one else could find. So many chestnuts, how can we finish them all? Xianxia smiled. Mom, we can finish them. The 5th sister-in-law said that we can make many delicious dishes, add them to vegetables, or porridge, ground into pastry, etc. Chapter 446, Reminder. They all laughed. Ms. Fong glared at her and said half-scoldingly, you remember everything about food. Xianxia tried to explain weakly. Brother Sanlang knows more than me. Everyone laughed even harder. Miss Fong was very amused too. You are almost the same, don't blame each other. Qiao smiled. She knows the mountains best and we have been there many times, so we are more lucky than others. Most importantly, we are living in harmony and hence, fortune favors us. That made Miss Fong feel quite glad. She nodded and praised Qiao. Qiao suddenly thought of something and smiled. Mom, I think that we can make some smoked sausage and meat, since it is getting colder. True. They were all reminded of this and nodded in agreement. We have a lot of money now, so we can make a lot of smoked sausage and meat. True, they can be preserved for a long time. We can put them into the jar and it should last us at least half a year. I am already drooling over the steamed smoked sausage and fried smoked sausage with garlic sprouts. Miss Fong smiled too. It is time to make them. You should go to the town to buy the meat, buy as much as you want. I will give you some money and we can make enough for our home and also to take some back to our natal families. They had already bought 1 bull, 1 donkey, and the wagon was ready too. So it was quite handy for them to go into the town. They would store some smoked meat and sausage in the past, no more than 10 kilograms, which would be finished after a few days. This year, things were different. Hearing that they could take the meat back to their own parents, Ms.Mi felt so happy and started to come up with some ideas. Xianxia was very interested and most knowledgeable about food. She was living a very easy life as long as the Qiao family was out of sight. They had money now, and all the food she bought was the most original, pure, green and pollution-free. The taste was really good too. Let's buy meat to make sausages, meat, pork liver, pork belly, pig heads, and pork knuckles. These can also be made into smoked meat, which is delicious. Also, we can make smoked ducks and fish. Let's pick some big ducks and long fish, which should taste better than pork. Miss Fong and the others were all shocked. No one in the village had made this kind of smoked meat before. Xianxia smiled in agreement. Fifth sister-in-law is right. Her words make me feel so greedy. Mom, let's make them please. Yeah, we can fish in the river, find big fish. True. Okay. Miss Fong smiled. Let's make them all. Buy 10 big ducks home when you shop for meat on the street. They all smiled and nodded in agreement. So, the next day, Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni went into the town to buy meat and ducks. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went into the mountains to dig winter bamboos together with Tao Tao and Qi. Qi had spoken about the winter bamboo the day before, and he knew where wild bamboo forests were. Those were good things that should not be missed. Hence, they went into the mountains to dig winter bamboo. Digging bamboo needed experience. It was not that easy and did not always guarantee a good harvest. But the winter bamboo in the soil was not a problem for Qiao Xian. Chapter 447. Being busy. Qiao Xian pointed in the direction where they could find winter bamboo. She claimed that she was very experienced. That made Qi and Tao Tao glad. Half a day passed, and they found what 4 people could carry around. Without Yang Xiaoni and Xiao Sanlang, they would not be able to carry the things. As for Qiao Xian, what she could do most was to carry a few winter bamboos. Tao Tao could carry almost 10 kilograms. The 4 of them went down, and returned, with more than 70 kilograms winter bamboo by the end of the day. Qiao Xian did not let them dig all the winter bamboo. She had a few left behind, so that they could grow out the next year. Startled, Miss Fong did not expect that they could get this much. She smiled. Winter bamboo is a good thing, better than fresh bamboo. This entire pile should be dried. So Ms.Mi and a few others started to get busy. There was a cellar in the yard. After the winter bamboo shoots were taken home, some were selected and stored in the cellar and buried in the sand. In this season, it would not go bad after being stored for even 20 or 30 days. They could just pull out some whenever they needed. They were going to have a good meal of fresh bamboo. After peeling off the bamboo shoots, the slightly yellow winter bamboo shoots were firm and small, and the faint fragrance of bamboo shoots was very delicious. Such fresh winter bamboo shoots were delicious whether they were fried or sautéed with various kinds of meat. No wonder the saying went that winter bamboos were more expensive than meat. Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni went into town to buy meat. They were going to make stir-fried sliced pork with winter bamboo shoots, stewed pork ribs with winter bamboo shoots, fried sliced bamboo shoots with shiitake mushrooms, and shredded fish along with bamboo shoot soup. They intended to get up early the next day, and were going to cut the winter bamboo shoots into cubes, add meat fillings, dried plums, and soaked peas so as to make wrapped buns with fillings. These buns would be steamed. Such delicious buns would surely make everyone greedy for them. In addition to the ones kept in the cellar, Miss Fong cut the winter bamboo shoots into slices that were neither thick nor thin. She blanched them in boiling water, added enough salt, picked them up and put them in a dustpan to dry, so that they could be made into dried bamboo shoots. They were all very busy. When Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni returned home, it was already evening. Miss Fong understood that the couple must have eaten and bought a lot in the town before they decided to return home. The reason why they arrived home before the evening was because they were drooling over Qiao Xian's cooking skills. Thank goodness for that. The two of them bought half a piece of pork, and asked the butcher to cut it into pieces suitable for making smoked meat. They bought another 20 kilograms of meat for making sausages, as well as casings. They also bought what Xianxia asked them to, which included 3 pig heads, 6 pork knuckles, 2 pig livers, and 3 pig stomachs. They even had rib bones and pork belly with them. They managed to buy 20 ducks who quacked all the way home. They could not deal with the ducks this evening, so they were kept in the shed in the yard. Pork needed to be processed first. They were all engaged in different tasks. Qiao was cooking, whilst Tao and Qi helped her. Miss Fang, together with 2 of her daughters-in-law, started to wash the meat, pork knuckles, pig heads, etc. They spread a layer of coarse salt evenly, and then put them layer by layer in a clay tank. This would be marinated for about 4 or 5 days. After being taken out, it would be washed with warm water, stringed it with a straw rope, and hung above the stove. They could smoke them when they cooked food later. When time was enough, it would be turned into delicious smoked meat. Chapter 448, Smoked Fish. The sausage required a little more effort. They washed the meat, cut it into small pieces, and marinated it with various seasonings. It was put into the casing at noon the next day. After that, it was also hung on the stove to be smoked naturally. Miss Fang made the sausage whilst Ms. Su and young Xiaoni killed the ducks. It wasn't very easy to remove the feathers from the 12 ducks, so Tao and Xiao helped as well. The method of making smoked ducks was similar to that of smoked meat. They just needed to clean the whole duck and hang it up. The duck selected for wax duck needed to be fat, otherwise it would only have a skeleton without meat after drying, and it would not taste good. They processed 12 ducks, and kept away quite many duck feet, duck liver, duck blood, duck intestines, and duck gizzards, which were all wonderful things. The family decided to eat hot pot that night. This was the pot that Xiao had asked a craftsman to make because she was greedy for it. They used the pork ribs bought the previous day to make the soup base. After boiling them, they simply stir-fried it to make a spicy pot bottom, just enough to make a double-tasting pot. Apart from the intestines, they had a few more vegetables prepared, such as yam slices, wax gourd slices, shiitake mushrooms, taro slices, winter bamboo shoots, spinach, coriander. Some fish slices, and fried meat-filled egg dumplings were also made. This accounted for a lively meal. Sure enough, they had never expected that when the intestines were put into the spicy pot, they could obtain such wonderful taste. They really wished to kill 12 more ducks the next day. The smoked meat and sausages were apparently not enough. Miss Fang decided to buy some more meat to make another batch, so they could be hung on the stove and sun-dried for later use. Qiao was greedy for sweet-tasting smoked sausages. Miss Fang was surprised. Sweet taste? With sugar? Yeah. Qiao smiled. But salt and other seasonings should be used as well, not too much, but sugar has to be enough. It would be good, trust me. Miss Fang smiled and agreed to her request readily. I am just curious. I trust you. Let's make some soon, and we are all going to have a taste of such smoked sausages. So, it was decided that they were going to make 15 kilograms of sweet-tasting smoked sausage. When the smoked meat and sausage were settled, they were all motivated to make some smoked fish. Qiao thought of the water pool she found when she entered the mountain before, so she said to Qi, "Why don't we go there? The fish in the deep pond are bigger, and it's the best for making smoked fish. Although there are big fish in the river, the number is relatively less. Also, the 3-finger-wide small fish, or mandarin fish, or yellowhead catfish are not suitable for making smoked fish." Qi agreed. But the pond was a little far from the village, and they needed to have water with them to keep the fish alive, otherwise carrying it around would be too troublesome. Also, dead fish would not be good for making smoked fish. So, they asked Xiao Dalong and Ms. Su to go together. Qiao had been thinking about the fish in the pond for a long time, and the fishing net was very rewarding. When pulling it to the shore, they could see countless big fish jumping around alive and kicking, revealing their snow-white belly. Large grass carp, Asian carps, and crucian carp that were more than a foot long were caught and put into buckets. The smaller ones were all thrown back into the pond. The harvest from 2 more nets was enough. Xiao Dalong, Ms.Mi, Xiao Sanlang, and Yang Xiaoni each had 1 bucket with them, and they went back to the village together. The fish was large in size, and just 4 of them filled up a bucket. But there was enough to take back when they were all together. There was no other problem except for the distance. On the way back to the village, they ran into a few villagers who had gathered around to watch the show. Chapter 449, Busy, is that fish? It is so big. Will it taste good? It smells horrible. They are different from us, they can put oil and spices in their food, and it should taste good. I have heard that fish is served at restaurants in the city and the dishes are all very delicious. Everyone from the first section of the family laughed. Fish was taken home as food, of course. But they did not want to talk about this with the others, in case some trouble arose, like how the incident regarding mushrooms occurred. The big fish in the deep water pond looked delicious at first glance, so they specially reserved 2 fish for kimchi at night, and left the rest to be smoked. After the big fish were processed, they were marinated like smoked meat, and after a few days, they could be hung in the sun for exposure. After drying, they could be put away and stored. The first section of the family especially liked making smoked things, so they were busy for a few days. Qiao Xian went into the mountains again, and brought some chestnuts, winter bamboo, yams, and lilies back. They were either sun-dried or preserved in the cellar. They were all excellent food for winter. Qiao Xian could find a lot of wild stuff with her superpower, but she was not very interested. She only found abundant ones for personal use rather than for selling them. She had better and more relaxing ways to make money, and she did not have to run after such small earnings. So little an exhausting process. There were also a lot of persimmons, but they were too soft, and the skin would break if they touched them, and the birds in the mountains especially liked to bite this. There were also insects such as ants, who had pecked and broken these before they turned ripe. So they left those persimmons alone. There were 3 persimmon trees in Qiao Xian's garden. The branches were luxuriant and full of red fruits. Every day, they could pick a basket and a half to satisfy their hunger. She hunted a few more wild rabbits and roosters, all of which were going to be smoked because there were so many of them. They even fetched some fish and shrimps from the river close to the village and picked a few to keep in the pool. As December arrived, the days turned cold, and they stopped going into the mountains. Qiao Xian did not want to leave home either. They had a very solid house, enough clothes, plenty of blankets and surplus wood for winter. Ms.Mi, Yang Xiaoni, and Qi found the days to be boring. They either visited friends or went into the mountains to chop some wood. Qi visited the mountains every now and then. He could bring a lot of interesting things home every time he went there. There were roosters, rabbits, grouse, mountain otters, muntjac, and so on. Once, he even brought back 2 Ganoderma for Qiao Xian. The only regret was that no wild sheep had been hunted. Qi, for some reason, wanted to get a wild sheep home, no matter what. Meat was easy to preserve in winter. The winter in ancient times seemed to be extraordinarily cold. The countryside was a few degrees colder than the city. These wild game would not go bad after 3 or 4 days of storage. Moreover, Miss Fong could turn them all into smoked meat. They shared a few of them with the second and third section of the family. After making smoked meat, Qiao Xian suddenly started craving for sour meat, so she made 2 more pots of sour meat, one with pork belly and pork ribs, and the other with roosters. It was quite easy to do. They washed the meat and marinated it with salt for 3 or 4 days. They stir-fried the glutinous rice in an iron pan until it was fragrant and the rice grains turned slightly yellow. After cooling, they added seasonings, mixed the meat and rice, and put it in a jar. They sealed it well and it will be ready in about half a month. They could be stir-fried quickly with chili peppers, sour, salty, fresh and spicy, and were very appetizing. After doing this, the meat would also turn extra chewy. Chapter 450. A narrow encounter. While sour meat was being made, they made some preserved eggs and salted duck eggs as well. Everyone in the first section of the family spoke highly of the food, just like Xianxia had praised it before. They got everything prepared and they would have good food for the upcoming winter. Ding Erju passed on the letter, saying that the house would be built soon and asked if Xianxia wanted to join them. Xiao Yunduan and Xianxia paid a visit to the Jianghu village soon. The villagers had worked fast and effectively. Due to Ding Erju and Madame Zhou's keen supervision, they did not cut down on their labor work. They had done the work according to the paper Xianxia and Xiao Yunduan gave them. The pond next to the vegetable garden had been dug by the tenants. It was finished, and there was a circle of green bricks about 1.5 meters wide that had been laid on the ground. Some pits were prepared for spring tree planting. A willow, 2 peach trees, 1 elm tree, 1 locust tree and 1 mulberry tree were planted beside the fish pond. When they grew into lush shade trees, they would not only shade the pond from the sun and cool down in summer, but also provide a place where they could sit and fish under the tree, and eat the fruit leisurely. When they could not finish the fruits, they could feed it to the fish in the pond. How wonderful! Xiao Yunduan and Xianxia were very satisfied by what they saw. The leader told them that they could have the house settled after a few more days, and they were invited to have a look at it when the work was all done. After completion, they would immediately install doors, windows, furniture, and then when the house was cleaned, people could move in within 2 days. When they left the village, it was still quite early and Xianxia suggested going for a walk in the town, which Xiao Yunduan agreed to. In the 12th lunar month, the town was extremely lively, with all kinds of goods around. Countless people were choosing thick cloth, cotton, buying dishes, candles, paper money, various dry goods and so on. It would be even more lively as they approached the year-end. Xianxia enjoyed shopping and bought a lot of odds and ends. There were small toys that children liked, silk flowers, and snacks. Xiao Yunduan kept her company and helped her hold goods. But they were unlucky to run into a few students from the college. Worse, 2 of them were Zhao Guanghua's followers. Xiao Yunduan frowned. It was too late to dodge them. Zhao Guanghua's followers knew that Zhao Guanghua hated him, so they wanted to tease him. Hence, they approached Xiao Yunduan. "Oh, look at this, aren't you Brother Xiao? I haven't seen you for a long time at college." "Huh, but he is not a student of our college anymore. He has been driven out, did you forget about it?" "Oh yes, it slipped my mind. Brother Xiao, I think Dean Meng punished you because he was very angry. What about us helping you out, Brother Xiao? Maybe you can apologize to Dean Meng, and he can forgive you?" "Yeah, without teacher's guidance, Brother Xiao will not be able to pass the examination. Brother Xiao, don't take risks with your future." The 2 of them cooperated with each other, but Xiao Yunduan ignored it. He knew clearly that he had the evidence proving that he did not do anything. But if he apologized, things would get very different. After all, why must he apologize without having made any mistakes? "Thanks for your concern, but there is no need." Xiao Yunduan greeted them back and said gently. Xianxia did not like these 2 men, and said to Xiao Yunduan, "Darling, we should leave." Chapter 451. Strange elderly man. Xiao Yunduan spoke to them with a lowered head. "Sorry, we are heading home soon. You can continue with shopping." The others in the gang were in a good relationship with Xiao Yunduan, but when cultivated talent Lin and trainee Lu were teasing Xiao Yunduan, they did not dare defend them. Otherwise they might offend Zhao Guanghua, who would surely punish them in return. Hearing that he was leaving, everyone let out a sigh of relief, waving him goodbye. Cultivated talent Lin sneered. "Brother Xiao, you really don't understand that we are helping you, right? Instead, you are trying to drive us away?" Trainee Lu snapped. "Brother Xiao doesn't understand our kindness, but we are still Brother Xiao's friends who care about you. If you don't want to go back to college, Brother Xiao, you can go to the elderly man who claims himself to be enriched with knowledge and wants to find a disciple. You can give it a try, maybe you can make it to a high level in the examination. Ha ha ha, that is very true. Cultivated talent Lin laughed as well. The other students who heard about the elderly man could not help but feel like laughing. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian left the place in a hurry. Darling, those two men are so annoying. Don't get mad, just ignore them. Xiao Xian responded angrily as she took Xiao Yunduan's arm. Xiao Yunduan glanced at her, saying with a smile, "No, I am not angry, you should not be angry either." Xiao Xian was startled and laughed. I got angry, yes, but you didn't, right? Xiao Yunduan grinned at her. Don't be mad. Me and them are never going to hang out together, so I don't care what they say. Okay. Xiao Xian nodded with bent eyebrows. She felt so relaxed as she asked curiously. But what elderly man were they talking about? Xiao Yunduan shook his head. No idea. Xiao Xian's eyes brightened and she suggested. Let's go to Mingrentang and ask Manager Qin about it. The town was too small for Manager Qin not to know everything. Xiao Xian wanted to explore the man's words. She was curious about what she had heard. Xiao Yunduan could not help but laugh. His wife was just too inquisitive. He had not taken it into account, but since his wife wanted to know about this, they could visit Mingrentang. Okay, let's go. The couple came to Mingrentang, and Manager Qin smiled. Some more good things? Xiao Xian smiled. Not every time. I have got many chestnuts, yams, and mushrooms at home. I will give you some if you want them. Manager Qin, who was just joking, suddenly felt like eating mushrooms. He smiled. Okay, mushrooms with chicken is the best dish ever. I am waiting for your goods to come. Xiao Xian smiled. Okay, I will bring them to you in a couple of days. Manager Qin took them to the back hall and started to talk. The couple asked about the elderly man's interest in taking disciples. Manager Qin laughed involuntarily and nodded. It's true. 3 days ago, one elderly man was here with his page boy, and they were eating at restaurant Jianghu. The elderly man claimed that he is not occupied, so he wants to take in a disciple to teach. He even has a few conditions for it. He wrote a poster and had it pasted at the gate of the restaurant Jianghu. Everyone has been laughing at him ever since. Chapter 452, Interesting Man. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian found the whole thing very interesting. We did not notice the poster when we went in. We will check it out later. Manager Qin smiled. The poster is gone. Someone ripped it off. The page boy in our medical center went to join in the fun, but after listening to a few words, the poster required that the students who want to consult him must be a cultivated talent, be under the age of 25 years, not be too fat or too short, and have a good-looking appearance. Also, he must write well, be smart and studious, be diligent, be healthy, be on call and so on. But most importantly, be in line with his feelings. So, even if that disciple meets every other condition, but does not stand in line with his feelings, he will not pass on any knowledge to him? This is just a joke. He is trying to make a show of it. At least I think so. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Really? The man seems very interesting. Haha. Manager Qin had no more information to share. When they were done with the conversation, they stayed for a while and then bid farewell to Manager Qin. Xiao Xian smiled. Darling, I think that the man is interesting. Let's go and explore. Xiao Yunduan helplessly threw a look at Xiao Xian, smiling. Let's just go home. Xiao Xian was very curious, and just could not help but think about this. She tried to convince Xiao Yunduan harder. But I think that people who dare to brag this much must have some skills. Let's just go and take a look, all right? If he is a big liar, we can go home directly. Manager Qin said that the person lives at Linhe village in the southern outskirts. It's in the same direction as our home, just requires a few more turns. Xiao Yunduan could not say anything to counter her, so he just nodded in agreement. They left the town and headed to Linhe village. The elderly man and the page boy lived in an old house, which looked neat and well arranged with a small yard. "Excuse me, is this elderly Yun's home?" An elderly servant squeaked the door open and looked expressionless. "Here for the teacher." "Write some words first." The couple. Qiao Xian smiled, and gave Xiao Yunduan a push. "Darling, let's do it." Xiao Yunduan was here to keep Qiao Xian company for fun, but when he heard the servant's tone, he could not help but feel unconvinced. He nodded and said to the servant politely, "It is cold outside, can you let my wife inside so she can get warm?" The servant looked at Xiao Yunduan, eased his expression and nodded. "Okay. Thanks." Qiao Xian smiled and went into the room. The servant took Xiao Yunduan to study close by. It was very quiet in the house. The elderly man must be away. The inside and outside of this house were clean and tidy. Although it was an old house, it had obviously been repaired. It looked quite simple and rustic, but it gave people a very comfortable feeling. That servant was in his 40s, dressed in a dark outfit. He did not particularly show anything, but Xiao Xian felt that he was not just an ordinary servant. Maybe this elderly man was capable of something. That would be great. Xiao Xian started to make imaginative stories in her head and looked up, seeing Xiao Yunduan walking towards her. You're tuning into the Carefree Valley YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.